The following is an exclusive presentation of Jefferson Pilot Sports, a division of Jefferson Pilot Financial.
No one in the history of Southeastern Conference football has equaled the success of Alabama. Winners of 20 SEC and 12 national titles, the Crimson Tide won the first SEC regular season championship in 1933. And 59 years later, the first conference championship game. Tradition and excellence define Alabama football.
You know, putting that jersey on means more than just going out there and playing football. It means that you're a champion, you know, and that you got more. You won the big one more than anybody else.
But in the 90s, there's been a new sheriff in town. The Florida Gators have won 5 SEC titles the last 7 years and crowned national champs in 1996. Steve Spurrier and the Gators have dominated SEC play this decade.
We love being the marked team, the team to beat, you know, the team everyone hates to play.
Today, these two traditional powers meet at Bryant-Denny Stadium, the home of the Crimson Tide, live from Tuscaloosa. It's Florida and Alabama next. Legendary players in the Southeastern Conference, Heisman Trophy winner Steve Spurrier and All-American Mike DeBose of Alabama now will compare wits as head coaches today. As in our Bell South SEC Game of the Week, the Alabama Crimson Tide hosts Florida at the newly expanded Bryant-Denny Stadium. Hi everyone, I'm Bob Kessling along with Dave Rose. Should be a great afternoon of football. Glad you're with us today. Alabama coming off a very disappointing game at Arkansas. They have simplified the offense this week. That means get it to number 37.
It certainly does, Bob. When you simplify, you go back to the running game. And Sean Alexander started off the year off strong, but Arkansas really shut him down. They put 7 players in the box, and they took his game away. Look for Alabama to spread their offense a little bit more, but Florida's defense, they may be the best in the country, Bob.
Indeed, they might be, and the offense isn't bad either. They've got 2 quarterbacks again. They're going to rotate.
I know. That's really an interesting move. It goes against the unwritten rule that you don't rotate quarterbacks. But Steve Spurrier decided. He's one of 7 or 8 teams that's done that, and with incredible results. You looked at their combined stats, and together they are as good as Tim Couch, and he leads the nation.
So it's Alabama going up against Florida. The last 4 years they've met, it has been for the SEC Championship. Back with the opening kickoff from Bryant-Denny Stadium in just a moment.
Today's Bell South SEC Game of the Week is brought to you by Bell South. Bell South is proud to be the official telecommunications company of the SEC. By Nations Bank. Nations Bank lends more money to small businesses than any bank in America. By the all-new BMW 3 Series. Everything your car does well, it does brilliantly. By Nationwide Insurance. For insurance coverage and financial services that meet your needs, call a Nationwide insurance agent today and get Nationwide on your side. And by Dodge, the truck stop of the New South, the new Dodge.
On campus, the Bryant Museum. It's a stop all football fans should make if they're traveling through Alabama. You relive the history of Bear Bryant, SEC football, and the great moments in Alabama, which has made this tradition so great. Inside the newly expanded Bryant-Denny Stadium, hoping that tradition helps them today beat the team of the decade in the SEC, the Florida Gators. Let's go downstairs to the other member of our broadcast crew, David Logan.
All right, Bob, thank you very much. In big games like this, you have to rely on impact players to help you to get the job done. Unfortunately for Alabama, they're going to suffer someone in the passing game. That's because Shamari Buchanan, the brilliant wide receiver that was injured in the preseason with a collarbone injury, will not come back today. It was believed that maybe he could. Now, talking to the medical staff, they're indicating that he may be back next week at the earliest. Also, Michael Vaughn, the other receiver, has been suspended because of violation of team rules. He will return next week. That means that what they're going to have to do is run the football more. That's a tough situation because of what Florida has in the presence of Javon Kearse. He is the freak. That's the nickname for him. 6'3", 250 pounds, can get the job done. He's got 5 other nicknames that we will talk about this afternoon, so we'll definitely keep our eyes on Javon. By the way, Bob, Dave, what kind of nicknames did you guys have that we can use on the air?
Slow and tired is what I was.
Well, I'll share a couple of mine later.
So Alabama will play defense first. Mark Wisniewski will kick it off, and Florida will get it first. John Capel and Robert Gillespie deep. One of the great traditional rivalries in SEC football. But most of the times when they play, plenty's at stake. Today, Alabama trying to spring the upset against the Gators, and we're underway from Tuscaloosa. Capel takes it deep. He breaks a couple of tackles and fights his way out to the 20. And so Florida will get it first. What quarterback will come out to start things? It's going to be Jesse Palmer. You see his stats. The 5 interceptions are a concern, but still 12 touchdowns. And he's hit on 61% of his passes, the sophomore out of Canada. And there's Doug Johnson. He'll get his turn as he stands right by Steve Spurrier. Terry Jackson, the standing tailback for the Gators. And Palmer's going to throw on first down. Right through the hands of his wide receiver, Travis McGriff. Second down 10 for Florida. Here's a look at our Nations Bank small business starting lineup for Florida.
Well, it's a good set of backs and wide receivers. Travis McGriff is their deep threat, Bob. 23 catches, 21 yards per carry. The line, it's anchored by Zach Pillar. A lot of comparisons with him to Mo Collins, the first-round draft choice. I personally think he's better.
So no rotation of the quarterbacks as Palmer stays in for his second straight play. And he gets it off to Jackson, who cuts it back and gets it across the 30 for a first down, knocked out of bounds at the 35. There's a late flag. And it was in the field of play, so it was not where Jackson was run out of bounds.
I think it might be Travis McGriff with a hold. If it is, and that's the call, a holding call. Travis McGriff had great position on the outside backer on Bryant, and I think he just held on to him too late.
Master Sizemore is our referee today. They'll mark it from the point of the foul. And so that'll take the first down away.
Holding on the offense. The spot foul. It'll be 10 yards from the spot. Still second down.
And Bob, Travis McGriff is number 3. Watch him down and left of your screen right there. That may be, see right there is what they call the hold, and it's against number 25, Fernando Bryant. Boy, that negates a big run.
Can't hold on to the jersey, though,
No.
especially when the official. 2 of them were standing right in front of him. So Steve Spurrier's team push back, and so it'll be second down. As you see, both of these teams have been penalty prone. Nothing really new for Florida, Dave, but they seem to overcome penalties.
Well, the penalties don't hurt them. They just seem, like you said, they seem to overcome them.
So Palmer stays in on this first series and the throw on second down and way overshoots his man. Darrell Jackson was out there, and that ball sailed on him a bit.
And this is a good defensive unit by Alabama. Moorhead is just a freshman out there, but he had a great game against Vanderbilt. 3 sacks and a fumble recovery. Travis Carroll, real concerns about his shoulder. We'll watch that closely. And the secondary led by Fernando Bryant. He's one of the best one-on-ones. They may try to match him up with McGriff. And Bob, there, of course, is the coach's booth of Alabama.
Third down.
It's an audible on the line.
And Palmer just gets it off the blitz. Faust got him, and the ball's knocked loose, and Alabama might have it. They're saying it's fourth down. Warren Faust came clean on a blitz, number 17, and was able to pound Jesse Palmer, knock the ball loose. But Florida was able to scramble, but will have to punt.
Boy, watch this hit on Palmer. You're going to see it right in the chest. Number 17 just runs him over, and that's Warren Faust. I saw Faust just nail it on the play. As soon as he saw the play, he just took off. Left of your screen right there, wham, he just runs through him. Zach Pillar in that area.
He was able to fall on the football and keep it. So now...
Boy, big series for Alabama, Bob. This is a huge emotional turnover to hold Florida and be able to come out and get that ball. They'll get it in great field position.
And now Alabama has to take a timeout. Didn't have enough players on the field, or their alignment wasn't what Mike DeBose wanted, so they will call a timeout. But Davis, is exactly what Alabama wanted, a good play and good stop by their defense. We are scoreless. Florida punted away. When we come back, first a word from Red Roof Inns. So a holding penalty towards Florida's first drive. Now they've got to punt it away. David Wazalewski from Tampa, freshman, steps in. Marvin Richard back for Alabama, standing at his 45-yard line.
Boy, Alabama's coming.
Low driving spiral. Richard will have to let it bounce, and he gets a good Florida roll down to the 40-yard line. But still, Alabama will have great field position on their first possession. Now look at our nation's bank starting offense for Alabama.
Well, the backs and wide receivers are good. They're going to miss Vaughn, but if Sean Alexander's going to run well, Dustin McClintock, the fullback's got to play in there well. And this offensive line is anchored by Will Cuthbert. He's just a sophomore, but he's played well. They need to have a good football game out of him. He's against Beauchamp.
John David Phillips. Rough afternoon last week against Arkansas. 9 of 21, only 48 yards. The longest pass they completed, 8 yards last week.
That's incredible, Bob.
Shovel pass, nothing there. That's not a fumble. That's an incomplete pass. Florida came up with it. Jamon Curse thought he had a fumble, but that's the old Utah pass, and Alexander couldn't hold it. Safe play, Dave, for that first one.
Yeah, it really was. It's the underneath little kind of toss along the line. You'll see it. Quarterback drops back and then throws the ball right in there. And you can see that Florida just comes off the ball and gets such great penetration, Bob. That's a tough play. You've got to delay it a little bit more. You see right here, look at the penetration that Florida has. Boom, you see Curse get right back into the football thinking it was a fumble.
Hey, if I had Curse coming on me, I'd get rid of it too.
Yes, you would.
Second down. Alexander following his blockers and picks up about 5 right up the middle. Johnny Rutledge able to make the stop. And there you see the Gators defense.
Well, it's anchored by Ed Chester in the middle. He's solid, plays the line well, but interestingly, no sacks. The defensive linebackers, they're great. All 3 Butkus nominees, anchored by Johnny Rutledge, the #1 tackler in the secondary. Tony George got injured in that Tennessee game. It's the first game that he's back. They need a big game out of him.
Alabama had 9 series, 3 plays and out. And now they got a third down here. Phillips swamped. There's Curse again, number 42, and Alabama nothing on their first possession as well.
Well, it wasn't one person that swamped them. It was 3. Curse, you're going to see Cohen's in there and another player in there. 3 of them just all over top of them. Boom, that's quite a pile. Again, look at this, just caving down. It's a quick in pass right there. It's blocked. In other words, the pass route is taken away and it just kind of collapses on top of them. 55 is Cohen's and 42 is Curse.
Daniel Pope now in the punt for Alabama. He's at a 43-yard average, but he's had to punt the ball 20 times this year. Now that's a concern for Alabama. Good snap. Good kick. And Travis McGriff going to take a fair catch at his 23-yard line. That's where Florida will get it for the second time. But Dave, Alabama couldn't do much against that Florida front.
Well, they've got to have those secure plays where they can start picking up first downs. You can't trade field position with Florida. They're too explosive. We see the quarterback rotation that we talked about with Doug Johnson. Those are great stats, Bob.
Yeah. No interceptions either. He had 12 of them last season. So Spurrier not rotating the quarterbacks every play, at least now every series, as Johnson gets his turn. And he'll throw it on first down. He'll throw it long. He's got a man out there, and he's got Travis McGriff. McGriff is run down by Hunter, but he's to the 10-yard line of Alabama. Johnson, what an arm he's got.
Boy, this ball carried about 45 yards in the air, and there was no loft on it. It was just a straight arrow. It's a straight pattern by McGriff, just a takeoff. But look at the trajectory of this. Good play right there. Look at the line. A lot of time. Boom, and he just throws that. He's got the stronger of the 2 arms between the quarterbacks. Look at that. Right on target. McGriff had him beaten on that fly pattern.
67 yards on the pitch and catch, and now the Gators have a first and goal. Try Terry Jackson, picks his way for a couple, stays on his feet down to the 7-yard line. Cornelius Griffin in there to make the play for Alabama, along with Travis Carroll. Carroll trying to go today, but a very sore shoulder, Dave, and that really puts a pressure and creates a problem for this Alabama coaching staff.
It certainly does. There you see the possessions inside the 20-yard line, Bob. That's called the red zone. Look at that, 75% scoring.
They scored touchdowns, too.
Yeah, exactly.
Second and goal for Florida. Second possession. No scoreless game here in the first. Johnson zips it too hard. Led his man just a little bit. Travis McGriff, the senior, couldn't get there.
Bob, one of the interesting things that Mike Dubose, as we look at Steve Spurrier, but Mike Dubose asked his team, he said, don't quit on me. Don't get tired and hang it up early. They felt that his team let down a little bit in the second half. But watch the hit that gets right here on the tail end right there. That's a little bit late.
Canary Knight.
Yeah, just a little bit late.
Makes the penetration. Well, you want to hit these guys, the quarterbacks, if you can get to them. They don't take sacks that often. And now Johnson has to hurry as the play clock is winding down.
Big down here. No backs in the backfield. It's definitely a pass.
Johnson, quick step, fade pattern through the hands of his intended receiver. That was Terry Jackson out of the backfield. And Tony Dixon on defense for Alabama.
This is one of those patterns where the receiver looks back to the quarterback, and the defensive back has to play the eyes of the receiver. It's tossed up, and you can see it's a well-thrown ball right off the fingertips. The receiver really in a tough position that time because his back is to the quarterback.
It'll be a 24-yard field goal attempt now for Jeff Chandler. He's taking over now for Collins Cooper. Spurrier doesn't like to kick field goals, but he'll take it right here as Florida jumps in front. But good news for Alabama. It was first and goal, and they hold the Gators to a field goal. We'll be back to Tuscaloosa, but first a word from your local SEC station.
Go, Bama!
Warm, muggy day, threat of rain in the Alabama area, but none here in Tuscaloosa right now. As the Alabama fans now try and see if the Tide can counter the field goal by Florida. Chandler to kick it off. Marvin Richard and Freddie Millens back deep for Alabama. Kick is into the wind, and it's high and long. And Richard will down it in the end zone. Alabama will get it on the 20, down 3-0.
Out there, of course, you see Neil Callaway right there, second in your screen. This is the coach's box right here. Quite a nice relationship between Mike Dubose and Neil Callaway. They were roommates, of course, here at Alabama. They've stayed really good friends.
The coaching careers have taken them different routes. Of course, Callaway spent some time at Auburn. Now he's here at Alabama trying to direct John David Phillips in this Tide attack. They look like Florida here, no running backs. Phillips, pressure, lost the football. Did Phillips get it back? They're going to try and dig it out. He did not, and Florida comes up with it. Exactly what Mike Dubose did not want. Easy opportunities for Florida, and Johnny Rutledge knocked it loose, and Reggie McGrew fell on it. Crucial turnover for Alabama.
Watch 58. You'll see Rutledge come right through the middle. It's a little bit of a twist in the middle there. Rutledge, number 58, the linebacker, comes inside around the tackle, McGrew, and just has a clear shot at him. That's not what you want if you're Mike Dubose. But I think once Florida saw there was no back there, they did that little stunt, little twist in the middle, got great pressure on John David Phillips, and the results are Florida back in scoring distance.
They did not take care of the football that time. Let's see if the Gators go right for the jugular on first down. No backs in the backfield. And Jesse Palmer going to throw it to the end zone, and the overshoots his man. Darrell Jackson was making the cut to the end zone, and the pass was too high. Sigler was on the defense for Alabama.
Boy, Bob, I'll tell you, Palmer took a shot that time. He may be coming to the sideline to take a deep breath. He really got hit from the backside.
So now Doug Johnson comes on to replace him on second down. Florida needs to get to the 2-yard line for a first down, but looks like they're gunning for the end zone here, leading 3-0.
Well, big series for Alabama. They need to hold them to a field goal try.
Johnson, pressure, flush, throws it into the end zone, and can't get there. Good defense that time. Marcus Spencer making sure that Kareem can't get to the end zone.
Now you hear a little bit of boos from the Florida fans. They wanted pass interference, but the ball was thrown out of bounds. It was one of those uncatchable balls. Here comes Palmer back in with the play.
Kendall Moorhead was the guy who was able to make the penetration and put the pressure on. And you see that Alabama, when they make a turnover, the other teams have been able to cash in on it. Florida trying to do so here. Big down for Alabama's defense, trying to keep the Gators out of the end zone again. Palmer, fake pattern. The arm is too high. Didn't put enough loft on that one.
Interesting.
Rip can't run it down.
Yeah, interesting. They're going to break the Florida record for field goals today because this is going to be their second field goal try. But that was a huge series for Alabama. To hold them to a field goal keeps them one touchdown from being back in this football game. So that was a big series, Bob. But you're right. No loft on the ball. Just kind of threw it on an angle straight on out there.
29-yard attempt. Billy Young to hold it. Chandler to try and get his second field goal of the day. Jumping everywhere. See if somebody flinched in that Florida offensive line.
Well, it's 4th down and 10, so it wouldn't make much of a difference if it is against Alabama. But I think the Alabama players were pointing over there, I think, in Cooper Carlisle's area. But it's going to go against Alabama. They jumped into the neutral zone and drew Florida offsides.
Field goal unit, though, stays on for the Gators.
Offside on the defense. It has the distance penalty. Still 4th down.
Well, and I thought for a minute there Steve Spurrier might go for the touchdown. You know, he's done that before. Mike DuBose is happy just holding Florida to this field goal try.
Well, that moves it up a bit. It'll be a 24-yard attempt now for Chandler, who hit one earlier in the game. And the kick is up and good. So a couple of 24-yard field goals for Jeff Chandler. And Florida leads it 6-0. But Dave, Alabama thankful it's not 14-0.
Absolutely. And Florida not used to scoring field goals. And Alabama has got to come back and have a good series right now. They really need to take pressure off their defense. Their defense has responded.
SEC football is brought to you in part by Red Roof Inns, where you'll find nice people and an honest value. For reservations at any Red Roof Inn, call 1-800-THE-ROOF or your local travel agent. Here you see Coach Paul Bear Bryant. Dave, we were in the offices yesterday. Mike DuBose and the coaching staff can't hardly turn without seeing a picture of the Bears someplace.
Every coach's office that we went to Neil Callaway's, went to, just all the way down the hallway. Everyone has the Bears influence in their office.
We mentioned the fact that they have this newly expanded stadium and a brand new video screen here. And right before kickoff, they play a video with Coach Bryant, some of the pictures of those championship teams, and it gives you goosebumps.
Oh, it sure does.
It's amazing and electric. As they've done an outstanding job of remodeling this stadium and expanding it. You see the old upper deck that was on the press box side, and then, of course, the new upper deck on the other side. Over 80,000 today jamming this place, hoping that Alabama can pull the upset. They've dodged a couple of bullets, but they still trail 6-0. 10:17 to go, first quarter. Richards going to take it deep and going to stay right there. Dave, Alabama's got to do something offensively, and they've got to take care of the football. Interesting this week that Mike DuBose said that John David Phillips, he's a veteran, a senior, but he can't make freshman mistakes. If you're going to make mistakes, you might as well go with a young quarterback.
Well, what you do in this situation is what Mike DuBose is trying to do, is simplify it a little bit. Look at the total yards. Alabama virtually not moving the ball at all. Big series here, not so much that they drive down and get a touchdown, but just that they get some first downs and get just kind of the pressure off them.
And of course, field position has been a problem for Alabama. They've been backed up. Alexander trying to kick it outside, and look at those Gators just swarm to you. Dave, that's the thing about Florida. It's the speed. Not necessarily the size, it's the speed of them.
You're exactly right. They have size in Chester and McGrew in the middle. They're those 290-pound defensive tackles, but they run so well to the ball. You got Beauchamp and Cohens. Then you talk about the three backs, the three linebackers in Rutledge, Peterson, and Kirsten. You've got team speed, Bob. That's incredible.
Those linebackers hit you like a sledgehammer.
Yeah, they just don't get knocked down. They don't. If they get knocked down, they're up so fast it doesn't look like they've been knocked down.
Alabama trying to spread them out a little bit on second down and long. Set up the screen, but it's deflected in the middle. As Ed Chester got a hand up and deflected the pass.
I thought that might have been Kearse.
I think you're right.
Yeah, Kearse was on this blitz, and what happened, it was going to be a screen right over top of the middle. What you're trying to do is drop back, and you just dump it over the middle, and you see Kearse's hands get up here, right there. See Kearse right there? Boy, Alabama had that play set up. If McClintock could caught that, look right there, you'll see it just tip off, folks. See where McClintock is? If he catches that football and turns around, he's got at least 8 to 10 yards.
The Freak makes a big play for the Gators. Now Alabama trying to set up some motions. Freddie Millens now will be the guy in motion to the top of the screen. And John David Phillips to throw on third down. Looking for somebody to block. Brady had a man wide open way down the field, but had no time to throw it. That would have been a long throw, though, but he had Tim Bowens way down the sideline, but just couldn't get the ball to him.
Well, there's no way Mike Peterson should make this play. He runs all the way from the weak side, all the way across the field, and brings down the quarterback. You've got to get rid of it. I don't care if they're not open. Right in here, you have got to get rid of it. See Peterson coming from the backside, number 29, and Kearse right there also. Kearse is the one that comes down with the tackle. And he already has 2 sacks already today.
Daniel Pope now in the punt again, second time today. That's a great kick.
Wow.
Travis McGriff goes back to his 22. There's one flag down.
He's going the wrong way, Bob, now.
And McGriff, a lot of running, is going to pick up about 7 or 8 yards on that, but a flag is down, and it's going to be back at the 16-yard line. A 57-yard punt by Daniel Pope, but the Gators will be backed up on that.
Yeah, that may be a clip against Chad McGehee blocking in the back.
Daniel Pope, the leading punter in the SEC, and didn't hurt his statistics on that one.
I thought he was kicking that into the wind, but boy, he got some leg into that thing.
Second big penalty now for Florida in the game.
Now we may see this block right in here, right there. That's the block in the back. That's 34 McGehee. Now you just try to find that wall of blockers. I think what happens is
Illegal block in the back on the return team. Be penalized half the distance goal line. First down.
Doug Johnson now comes on for the Gators. This time Florida leads at 6-0, but they've had 2 great scoring opportunities and haven't been able to cash in except field goal.
Well, this is a big series now for the defense. They've answered the call twice. If they can get a turnover or make Florida punt from this position, they'll give their offense position on the field, give them good field position. Florida, they just want to drive the football. They want to get a first down.
Barry Jackson is pushed back by the middle of that Alabama line. Nope, that's Gillespie in there, number 20, 5'9" freshman. He's out of Hattiesburg, Mississippi. And Travis Carroll inside to shore up the middle for Alabama.
And Bob, the defense is keeping this crowd in the football game. They actually could be down 14-0, but their defense has kept this crowd in, and this crowd could be a huge factor. A lot of noise down that end zone. See, there's an audible along the line.
Johnson going to throw it. Zip. It's over the head of Darrell Jackson again. The Florida quarterbacks have been high today. They throw at Fernando Bryant, and he's there on defense.
Well, Bob, as soon as you see out patterns like that all being high, you start to question whether this is a flat field, whether that has any bearing on it. Now, these quarterbacks are outstanding quarterbacks, but we've had 7 or 8 pass patterns thrown over top of the head on the sideline patterns.
It is a flat field, by the way. And they're 0 for 3 now, the Gators are, in third down conversions.
Big down here for both teams. Florida wants to get out of there deep in their own position.
Johnson over the middle, and he's got his man, Travis McGriff, and that'll be a first down. Comes down and runs the deep hook and right in front of Kelvin Ziegler and gets the first down. Boy, what, he can make the throw.
He certainly can. This is just going to be a curl pattern inside. Just curl and be big. Now slide to the inside, find the open seam. And that's one of those players. Travis McGriff is one of those players that Doug Johnson loves to go to. But look at the time Johnson has right here. Alabama didn't quite get the rush that they had gotten on the first 2 series.
Johnson liked that, and so do the Gators, as it's first down. Johnson throwing long, and the receiver is bumped. They say it's a nope. There's the flag. The back judge was right there, didn't throw it. The field judge came in and threw it. Fernando Bryant pleading his case, but the receiver, Travis Taylor, was bracketed and bumped, and it'll cost Alabama.
So what's interesting is it's a good line surge up the middle. They're going to get a good push in there. Kelvis White, number 67, levels Johnson right there. Downfield, that was interesting.
Defensive pass interference to 15 yards from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
And Bob, what was interesting about that pass defense, and you hear the reaction of the crowd, is it was incidental contact where they just kind of ran together. It wasn't like, you know, he drug him down or gave a hand on him or pushed him or anything like that.
But the Gators get a first down out of it. Corey Johnson trying to get the ball out, falls down. He just tripped coming out from center.
I think the center may have stepped on his foot, or the guard. Let's see again right there. Yeah, the center steps on his foot as he pushes off. Look at Johnson, still hands it off. Boy, that could have been a fumble easily.
Well, he was already down when he hit, though. So Zaxton Delos steps on Johnson's foot, and that's a break for Alabama. Pushes the Gators back. Second down, 13. Florida leading 6-0 midway first quarter. Blitz. And he throws it away. He threw it behind the intended receiver, Terry Jackson, just to get rid of it. But Jackson was in the area. Evan Sigler was the closest one to the ball.
I'll tell you, Sigler looked up. This ball, if it doesn't bounce in front of Sigler, watch number 20 out to the right of your screen. Once he throws the ball right there, look at Sigler. He's right there saying, oh my goodness, it was right there in my hands.
Dave, Alabama's done a nice job with their blitzes. When they've come, the timing of them, and they've really been pretty successful.
What they're doing, Bob, is they're watching to see when the quarterback makes a check. When he makes a check, it's almost as if they know where to come with the pressure, and they're blowing up the two safeties up inside to get pressure.
Third and long. They just get it off. And Johnson throws it. It's complete to Kareem. But there's a flag down. I think he didn't get it off in time. It didn't look like.
I don't know if I was wondering if the clock had run out of time. Again, quarterbacks have got to be conscious of that. They've got to look up at that clock in the end zone.
Well, there are a couple of flags down.
Well, the one is along the line of scrimmage. Not quite the start that Steve Spurrier
delay
wanted.
game on the offense, sitting the 25-second count. Still third down.
We mentioned the fact that Astor Sizemore is the referee today. And you see the other officials working today's game between Alabama and the Florida Gators here. Bell South SEC Game of the Week. Bob Kessling, Dave Rowe, and David Logan roaming the sidelines on this warm afternoon in Tuscaloosa. And the Tide now trying to put heat on Doug Johnson. Third down and 19 to go.
Now do you come with a blitz, or you just try to get pressure from your front line?
He's got time. And he throws the ball into the Alabama bench. He overshot Travis Taylor out there. Had no shot at that one, and Alabama's defense comes up big again.
Everything to the out patterns has been over the receiver's head. They'll have to make an adjustment to that. But listen to the crowd still in this football game. They know they're just kind of hanging, and that's what they kind of thought. They said, if we can hang with Florida, then we have a chance. Florida, fantastic offense, moves the football up and down the field. The defense has got it together today for Alabama. I wonder if the offense does.
We'll see it in a moment. Wasilewski and again the punt for the Gators. Arvin Pritchard standing back at his own 27-yard line. This punt into the wind. Pritchard fields it, looks for room, and gets hammered to the ground at the 38-yard line. Good coverage as Teddy Sims, a linebacker on the punt team, makes the stop. And so Alabama gets its best field position of the game, down 6-0 here in Tuscaloosa. Six to nothing Gators. Couple of field goals here in the first, and Alabama has the ball now, trying to counter and take the lead, but their offense has not done much so far against this talented Gator defense. And they make a change at quarterback. You see where Alabama's average start time at 26 on the starting yard line, and Andrew Zhao now the quarterback. Out pass, complete. That has been Calvin Hall. So right away, the change at quarterback pays dividends.
Well, that's what you want to do to get this team juiced up a little bit. That's what Mike DuBose told us. He said, hey, if John David Phillips doesn't start off strong, I'm not afraid to go with Andrew Zhao.
See Zhao's numbers, and John David Phillips could move the team, and they'll see if Zhao can do it. Second down, 3.
See a lot of movement on the offense now. Sometimes this will really give you a spark.
He tried to get rid of it, but he felt pressure as, again, Raquan Manuel was able to get in there for Florida.
Well, they really like Sal's mobility back there. He's got a little bit quicker feet, can slide around, and he's not afraid of pressure. That time he had Florida right in his face. Just a freshman. This is a big opportunity for him, and the Alabama coaches are, this is a big decision, just to get a spark on their offense.
Well, they got good yardage on first down. Second down, of course, the incomplete. Now they need 3 on first down. You see they haven't converted yet today. Now, time this time. Got his man. Eric Locke out of Murfreesboro gets the catch, and Alabama has the first down. Dave, this crowd is just ready to erupt as Alabama does something good.
You're exactly right. You're going to see lefty pattern right there is where the ball's going to be thrown. Look at that, right in the seam. But didn't you like the way Andrew Zhao just kind of sat back there, sat back there, sat back there. There's his receiver, and he just drills it, waits for him to come free. Boy, Locke knew he was going to get hit again. Curl in there, first down. That's what Alabama needed. They needed this spark on offense.
Well, you got to get some passes, too, to keep them honest on defense, so you can maybe run the ball as they try and get it to Sean Alexander. Alexander, not much there. Stay tuned at halftime for our Bell South You Call the Play feature. A look at a big call from SEC games past. Alexander has scored Alabama's last 9 rushing touchdowns, 8 this season. The only player to rush for a touchdown this year for Alabama. Phillips was 0 for 2. Zhao, since he's come in this series, 2 of 3 throwing it. Over 6's man, Calvin Hall, trying to get up there with one hand and just couldn't bring him down.
Oh, boy, he had Calvin Hall across the middle on the seam, and Calvin Hall knows if this ball was just an inch lower, he's going to come down with a huge play. Right over the middle, right here, inside, bang, right there. Throw the ball to him now. Look at that. Nobody in place, nobody in front of him. That was going to be a huge play. Good read, though, by Andrew Zhao.
Alabama is into Florida territory now on third down, though.
Another blitz.
Now Zhao. He's got some wheels. Gonna get a first down. He's close. That's another dimension he brings to the offense, Dave.
All right, what this is, Bob, is outside pressure. Quarterback, you're going to see outside pressure here and here. Quarterback just drops back. It's designed to go as a draw all the way. You see him just get out of my way. Just let me get that first down yardage. The blitz was from the outside, had no factor.
Alabama back to the eye now on first down as Andrew Zhao shows some of that athletic ability. And the handoff to Alexander, breaks a couple tackles. He plows deeper into the Florida territory. Lost his shoe on the way.
Well, this is a huge series for Alabama because all of a sudden your offense is moving the ball. You keep your defensive excitement up because your defense has responded well. For Florida, they're kind of caught a little bit by surprise. There's the coach's box as they ponder what goes. You never see any emotion from these coaches. They just sit back there and just kind of keep on just hoping and wishing and praying. But Florida really needs to answer right here. They need to put a stop on this Alabama threat, take this crowd out of the game.
His receiver fell down. Zhao just throws it over the middle. Quincy Jackson, I think he short-hopped it, but there was a receiver on the right side. I think the guy he was going to go to, Eric Locke, when he made his break, fell down.
Well, what happened on Zhao on this play is, watch, he's going to throw off his back foot. See where he's backing up and the ball just dies going out there? Good try there, but you're right. Came off his primary receiver, looked at that crossing pattern. For him, it's a shame he didn't have that foot forward where he could drive it in. Big down right here. I think almost, if I'm Mike DeVos, I might try twice to pick up this yardage.
Bowens and Locke in the slot. And that's Quincy Jackson. Jackson over the middle. Jackson. He's going to be close, but I don't think he got there for the first down. He needed to get right to the 21-yard line. We'll see where they spot it.
Well, for Mike DeVos, it's do you go for a field goal, try to pick up almost a sure 3 points, or do you go for the touchdown? He's saying, hey, I want to stay with these Gators. I'm going to try to kick this field goal and only be down 6-3.
But they decide, take the points when you can get them.
Well, especially for your offense, because your offense has responded well. They've driven the football. You don't want to bring them off the field without having any success or putting any points on the board.
Lugner kicks the 55-yard field goal last week against Arkansas. He made it.
Oh, Bob. Oh.
40 yards on that one, line drive, no style points, but he gets 3 out of it.
Bob, that thing couldn't have cleared the goalpost by a foot. That was incredible. It wasn't pretty, but it's 3 points. Look at this ball. It barely clears. Look how it doesn't even go high as the stadium. The guy just standing right behind there just caught it.
Well, that gets this Alabama crowd back into it again. 6-3 is our score as Alabama gets on the board with 2:18 to go in the first quarter. Next Saturday, we've got another good one for you. Auburn and Mississippi State, our Bell South SEC game of the week. Ben Leard averaging 208 yards passing. Has some great targets in Karsten Bailey and Clifton Robinson. Tiger defense will need a way to stop that great running attack of Mississippi State. Should be a good one next week. Hope you'll be with us for Auburn and Mississippi State, 12:30 Eastern, 11:30 Central Time. Find out more about the game by getting us on the internet at jpsports.com. 6-3 as Alabama to kick it away again. Wisniewski will boot it away to the Gators as Capel and Gillespie stand deep for Florida.
And Bob, you know as well as I do, it's a game of emotion. That emotion should help Alabama stay in this football game.
Short kick, Gillespie at his 15. Looks for running room. Good return that time out across the 30. Now that's where the Gators will take over. Let's go downstairs now to David Logan.
Yeah, we've been seeing Florida go with this quarterback rotation, this platooning system all season long. And really, there's no method to Steve Spurrier's madness. He kind of does it according to how he feels. If one quarterback comes out and throws for 50 yards, that doesn't mean he's going to stay in the game if it's a 50-yard strike. Right now, we're seeing Jesse Palmer, though, because Doug Johnson has sputtered. He did have a good pass early in the first quarter, but failed to get it in the end zone. So now it's up to Jesse Palmer.
Palmer 0 for 4 out of the chute. Now he takes over the offense as the Gators have their lead cut to 3, 6-3.
Audible on the line. Taking a lot of time, Bob.
7 seconds, now 6-5, and they get the play off. And Jackson pulls over some people, and the red shirts come up and push him back. Terry Jackson, as Cornelius Griffin has a hold along with Canary Knight.
Boy, and I watched Sigler that time, the safety, number 20. I mean, he came in there and just stuck. You talk about sticking. Watch number 20 come in on this play. He reads it. He's the strong safety. Right in here, he's going to come. Bang! That's him. Loses his helmet. Boy, he's a tough little egg back there at about 6 foot, about 190 pounds.
You see his terrific numbers this year. Had 13 tackles against Arkansas, 9 against Vanderbilt, and an interception. He's been an all-star performer for Alabama. Doug Johnson now at quarterback. Over the middle, got his man, his fullback, Rod Frazier. And Frazier gets it out to the 45-yard line, and that'll be good enough for a first down as Tony Dixon comes up from strong safety to make the play.
Boy, that's what Florida does so well. Their wideouts are covered. Come and find one of those little backs coming out of the backfield. He finds Frazier on just a little curl pattern. And Johnson and Palmer both read so well, Bob. They read where the coverage is. And of course, they're just an arm of the quarterback coach, and that's Steve Spurrier. He's the main man out there directing this offense.
1 minute to go. First quarter in a 6-3 game. Jackson breaks it. Jackson looking for a block and runs it down to the 32-yard line. Terry Jackson, the senior out of Gainesville. He's the student body vice president, a leader in the classroom and at Florida and on the football field.
Boy, just a huge block right there. Look at this turnout right there. That's Walker inside. That's an excellent block inside by Cooper Carlisle. I mean, they just opened up a hole there. Good lead block in there by Frazier. Pick up the backer. That's just like you draw it on the chalkboard.
Remember, Florida is 54-1 under Spurrier when they rush for over 100 yards. Johnson to the end zone, looking for Taylor. And no flag out there, some bumping. Kelp Bailey on the coverage. And the pass was incomplete, intended for Travis Taylor.
Boy, you know, that was good coverage by Bailey. He was really beaten on the play. Watch Bailey. He's going to keep inside position on the receiver. See right here, he's playing the receiver's eyes. He can't look back at the ball. He's just playing the receiver. There's no face guarding in college, so he's just playing the receiver, trying to keep that inside position. And when you see that receiver look back for the football with those big wide eyes, Bailey just got in between it.
Looked like Taylor might have had over Bailey's face mask, but he got away with it. Second down. Johnson, the blitz coming, gets rid of it to McGriff, all reliable. And Travis McGriff is rolled out of bounds. He'll be short of a first down. Comes from the great football family. His dad, of course, an All-American wide receiver at Florida back in '74. Also part of the Gator Radio Network for many years.
Yeah, that's a great story to watch your son follow on into your footsteps.
5 seconds, 4, 3. Let's see if Florida is going to let him run out, and that will be it in the first quarter. So Alabama's defense keeps the Gators out of the end zone, but Florida still leads it 6-3 on a couple of field goals from Jeff Chandler. Second quarter coming up from Tuscaloosa, the Gators in front. Alabama leads the all-time series against the Gators, 18 wins to 10. 4 of the 6 games. The last 6 have been in the SEC championship game.
Bob, you got to think run in this situation, especially with Terry Jackson back there.
Jackson pulls his way ahead, and he'll have a first down.
Terry Jackson near the 20-yard line. Kelvin Ziegler.
You know, when you start thinking about defense, you get down inside this 4-down territory, and you start conceding things. And it's almost like Alabama said, "Okay, we know he's going to. We know he's a great back. We know he can make that first down. We're not going to give him the home run strike. They're going to try to pull him up short again and maybe hold him to another field goal on this series."
Johnson found the play at the line of scrimmage, throws it out. Travis McGriff is run out of bounds after a pickup of just over 5 yards.
Well, you know what I like about Travis McGriff? You're going to catch this ball, fans. This is right in your hands. But look at that. He catches it clean. Reminds me of the great receivers that I've seen over the years. They don't bobble the ball. They don't catch it against their body. Keep those hands out. Look that football in. He's got a great pocket. He's an outstanding wide receiver.
He's got 3 touchdown catches on the year. And now he flanks out wide to this near side is Travis McGriff. Second down, counter play. Terry Jackson gets it to the 11-yard line. That's close to a first down.
Bob, did you see what he did that time? I thought he almost thought about handing it back to the quarterback, because when Doug Johnson takes this football and rolls out, watch what he does. He throws to him right there. It looks like he almost puts the ball back to Johnson. Runs back on the slide on the angle there.
Kendall Moorhead was back in the backfield, didn't know which way to go.
Exactly.
There's Jackson. What a great performer he's been for this Gator football team. Doug Johnson gets a big line surge behind Deke Story. And Cooper Carlisle right there in the middle, and he gets a first down. Here's a look at our Duckhead first quarter stats.
And Bob, the one thing that jumps out at you is that one turnover. That's 3 points on that turnover, but really when you start looking at this offense, 4 yards rushing, 24 yards passing, that's not going to get it, but they got a little bit of a spurt there when Zal came in and got them down the field. Alabama's definitely in this football game. This is a big series right here. They need to keep them out of the end zone.
Third time the Gators have been down here. First 2 times they had to get field goals. First down goal, Florida. Jackson wrapped up, but he still gets a couple of yards. Hit right at the line of scrimmage, but dragged a couple of red shirts with him. Kenny Smith able to make the stop for Alabama, the sophomore out of Meridian, Mississippi.
And Bob, you know what you think about here? If you're a Florida fan, you're thinking, gosh knows, we put the football on the ground an awful lot. That's what Florida's thinking. The key in not fumbling, of course, Bob, is just that concentration, thinking about the football, just keeping it in there. As Steve Spurrier told us, tuck it away. Florida has lost 10 of 13 fumbles on offense.
10th play of this drive. And Johnson directing traffic on second down and goal. Pressure. Alabama makes him throw it before he wants to, and the pass is incomplete. As again, good pressure as they try to get the ball to Kareem. Kenny Smith And also Kendall Moorhead able to get the pressure in Canary Knight.
You know what's amazing here is that the receiver is open on the out pattern, but what happened is as Johnson was running back, he was under so much pressure that he's throwing off his back foot. Kenny Smith is in his face. Moorhead is in his face. There's several guys that are just putting pressure on him, and he's not allowed to step forward and drill that football.
Gillespie now comes in at tailback for the Gators on 3rd down and goal. Florida trying to get it into the end zone for the first time today. And the pass is intercepted in the end zone by Fernando Bryant. Bryant with a terrific interception, and Alabama's defense comes up with yet another big stand.
And Bob, that was not Fernando Bryant's coverage. The coverage that Bryant has is to the outside here, and what he does is he comes off his receiver. There he is right there. He comes off his receiver back into the play. He had Kareem all the way. He just came off of him. That's his second interception of the year.
What a terrific play. First interception of the year for Doug Johnson. It looked like he was covering, Bryant was covering McGriff, and Dave, like you said, he read the quarterback and went back.
Exactly.
So Florida turns it over for the first time. Now Alabama has John David Phillips back in there as quarterback, run out of bounds at the 23-yard line. Phillips does bring some speed to that quarterback position as well. He's a very good athlete. He's played several different positions, but Fernando Bryant, they don't throw his way often, but they did that time.
Well, he's a big playmaker. He's the outstanding man-on-man coverage, and it just like he read the quarterback's eyes saying, I'm going to come off my coverage, and he did, and he intercepted that ball. That is a huge turnaround for Alabama.
Phillips swings, Hall gets a block, and he gets up across the 35-yard line. Freddie Millens makes the block at the point of attack, and Alabama's going to have a first down at the 37.
Now this is a quick out. You'll see Millens come in. Millens comes on right there. You see he's got George outside there blocked. Now just come back inside, pick up the yardage. Outstanding call by Alabama. Now all of a sudden you've got John David Phillips saying, hey, wait a minute, I don't want to be over there sitting down. I better do something.
Phillips going to be blitzed. Oh, what a hit he took.
Man.
Teddy Sims came, check that. That was Mike Peterson, the linebacker. Peterson had a clean shot and buried John David Phillips.
How did he not see him? Right here, just boom. Going to come right back into your face. Watch this. Nobody blocks him. He's got to see him. You got to feel him. I mean, this is a picture-perfect tackle. Ouch. Again, look at this. Wrap him up. Pow. Drives his hat right into him. Ouch.
You know, their linebackers will play their whole career and not get a shot like that.
That is, I mean, that's like you got a dummy standing back there and you're in practice.
Give John David Phillips some credit for getting up, and he's going to try it again. It's knocked down at the 30. Alabama fans not very happy. Andrew Zhao came in and moved them. And now Phillips comes back onto the field, and Alabama's faced with a 3rd down and long. Mike Peterson again runs down John David Phillips.
I don't know what Phillips' play was this time, but this looked like he bailed out of that pocket awfully early. Dropped back, set up, and it just came out. Now there's Zhao, number 5. You see him there? A lot of times you don't see quarterbacks stand on the sideline with their helmet on. Zhao says, I'm ready to play.
John David Phillips trying to produce here. Here's the blitz again. Peterson's got a beat on him and drops him again. 2 sacks in the possession as Mike Peterson, his 2nd sack of the day, and Alabama's got to punt it away.
Well, you know, Johnny Rutledge, the middle linebacker, and Kurtz get a lot of publicity, but look right here, 29 Peterson, nobody on him. And this time, John David Phillips says, ooh, I see that number 29 coming from the outside.
Dave, obviously Alabama's got to do something about that blocking scheme.
Yeah. 4 sacks today already, Bob. That's quite a lot.
Daniel Pope punts it away. Ford almost got it. Pope booms a high, wobbly kick against the wind. And the ball bounces out of bounds. Capel came up to try and make the play, couldn't get there, and just let the ball bounce out. But Florida will have outstanding field position as they try and keep the pressure on Alabama, leading 6-3 here at Bryant-Denny.
Advance Auto Parts presents the SEC Good Works team, recognizing the superior community service efforts of league football players. Today's honoree is quarterback John David Phillips from the University of Alabama. John David is the current past president of Alabama's Fellowship of Christian Athletes chapter and shares his faith frequently with youth groups and churches throughout the state. He also speaks at area elementary schools about the importance of staying in school and avoiding drugs. Advance Auto Parts is proud to salute John David Phillips and will contribute $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation on behalf of the SEC Good Works team.
What exactly is opportunity? Is it big or small? At Nations Bank, we believe every business decision you make holds opportunity. And like you, we have a knack for finding it, whether it's maximizing cash flow or taking your company public. Maybe that's why we're the bank for so many leading companies around the country, and why we lend more money to business than any bank in America. Opportunity is out there. Let's make the most of it.
SEC football is brought to you in part by Advance Auto Parts. The best part is our people.
So far, a rough day for John David Phillips. He'll try and rally this Alabama team, still down just by a field goal, and Florida's had 3 shots to get touchdowns, but yet only 2 field goals. Jesse Palmer now into the game again as quarterback as the Gators keep rotating. Pick up about 6. Daryl Jackson makes the play, and Tony Nixon on the coverage for Alabama.
And Bob, it's interesting to see Florida almost like they're going back to the basics. Little hook in, drive the ball in, have some things go right. Steve Spurrier is a master out there of offense, but sometimes when your offense is just kind of sputtering, you're overthrowing the ball, you're not picking up first downs, just go back to those basics. Curl, fly pattern, little cut inside.
And you hand it off to 22. Good tackle right in the middle of the field. Tony Dixon. Jackson had some room to run. And Tony Dixon made a terrific play around the ankles.
Well, again, Steve Spurrier and his staff trying to mix up the offense, keep him off guard, use Terry Jackson back there because he is such a force. But they really are one-dimensional when you start to look at their running backs. Their halfback, Terry Jackson, gets most of the calls.
A lot of possessions in this game. This is the 11th possession, the 6th time by the Gators. Trying to push it for the first down. Let's see where they mark it. Jesse Palmer put his head down and tried to ride right behind his center. Saxon Delos, I'm not sure he got it.
Well, he had to make about the 41-yard line. I think they got a good enough push, but you're right. But you know what? If I'm Alabama, I'm turning around saying, hey, you can do that. You can move the chains, just move them little by little because they're playing the clock right now with under 9 minutes to play in this half.
The Gators with 38 yards on the ground, and you see the Tide at -3. Sacks figure into that. He was open as he was behind Hunter, but the pass turned him around a bit, so Florida will have it 2nd and 10.
Boy, he did turn. McGriff did turn Antoine Hunter, number 39, around. Left of your screen, you're going to see McGriff come to fake the inside. Anytime your defensive back is that far separated from the wide receiver, he's been fooled on the play. You can see if this pass was just a little bit shorter, had it been a touchdown.
Alabama's got its dime package in there. 6 defensive backs on 2nd down and 10.
See if they don't blitz off of it.
Florida's thrown the ball 20 times. They've run it 13. Johnson to throw. Looks for somebody. Pressure. Wagner's chasing him and drops him. All the way back into Gator territory. Clint Wagner makes the play. He's got 4.5 sacks on the year. That's a 19-yard loss.
And sometimes you have to credit a sack to the secondary, even though they didn't tackle him. They're what caused this sack. Look at the time that Johnson has. Time, and then goes down under the avalanche.
And Johnson Smith was there as well, along with Clint Wagner.
Yeah, he wanted the face mask. That's the face mask. He thought that the tackle had the face mask, but huge play by Alabama. Big down. Now, you want to give him that short pass. You don't want to give him the home run. For Florida, you're looking for first down yardage.
Alex Willis into the game, along with Travis McGriff here on 3rd down, and they say 26. Johnson throws long for McGriff. There's a collision and no flag. There's also a flag down on the field. Looks like Florida might have taken too long. Kelp Bailey was back on defense for Alabama.
On the offense, 5-yard penalty, to third down.
You know, Dave, in the Tennessee game, Florida had problems with the crowd noise. That was one of the reasons they had a lot of penalties, and again, the crowd was loud just then.
Well, Steve Spurrier practices against noise, especially when you've kept the crowd in, as this Alabama team has. But I think that may come back. Play may come back to help Florida, because it was going to be an incomplete. Now they may pick up 15 or 20 yards. Big down for Alabama.
Third down and a boatload. Got to get it to the 31-yard line.
Here comes the blitz.
Receiver falls down. Don Capel trips at midfield, no flag, and the Gators have to give it up. And listen to the hand for the Alabama defense.
You know, Bob, I was down on the field earlier as we listened to this tremendous ovation by the crowd. The field is dry. It's a flat field. The grass is not dug up. There's very little excuse for Florida to be going down, tripping their wide receivers, tripping as much as they are.
In fact, the field was recently resodded right in the middle of the field. So new grass, firm footing, and Wazalewski in to punt it away for the Gators. Driving, lovely kick. Richard gives it to his 32. Richard tries to pop it outside, and he gets it to the 43-yard line. Terrific return. And Alabama again has good field position as they trail by 3. Punt was 39 yards, and the return for Richard of 9. Alabama trying to take the lead when we come back. First, a word from your local SEC stations. Alabama helped build its tradition with defense, and the defense has turned back the Gators today, keeping them out of the end zone. John David Phillips returns at quarterback for Alabama. Bama with good field position. Here's the blitz again. He avoids the first one, not the second. Good pressure that time, as again, Raquan Manuel was the first one in there, and then Javon Kirsch finished it up, and Phillips having a problem dodging those linebackers.
Well, he had problems that last series. The number was different, 29. Mike Peterson leveled him on that play, came right back the next down, and you see him in your screen, and he gets him again. This time all they did was change the numbers this series, Bob.
David, looks like Florida's running the same blitz time after time until they block it.
It is. It's an outside backer, and he's just jumping off the ball, getting into that backfield. They've got to do something to pick him up, slow him down.
Pressure again, and Phillips goes down. That's the same song, about fourth verse.
Boy. Well, I wonder why they don't go back to Andrew Zhao. He had a little bit of success. I mean, I know you don't want to discourage your young your quarterback John David Phillips, but you've got Zhao over there, number 5, who had success.
Well, but let's also, John David, he's not having a lot of time to do much of anything back there.
No, that's true. He's getting avalanched right here. You see the penetration. He has to step up in the pocket. Now you take your head down. You're just looking just to avoid contact.
Reggie McGrew was in there for Florida in the middle.
Wow. 6 sacks already.
The screen over the middle, and Sean Alexander just lucky to get that one. And again, Reggie McGrew was right there on top of him, and Ed Chester as well. So the middle of that defense really played well that time again for Florida, and Alabama's got to give it back.
Well, that's too quick a series for Alabama and Mike DuBose. You cannot just go out there, bang, 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 give the ball back, because this Florida team is so powerful. That time I think Ed Chester got a hand in on that ball and knocked the ball out of Sean Alexander's arms, but they have got to put first downs together.
Daniel Pope on to punt it. Not as good a kick this time. See what the roll turns out. It's a Florida roll, and they down it at the 32-yard line, as Alabama covering the punt was Gary Barnes. And so the Gators now will take over at the 31-yard line. Florida leads it 6-3 on a muggy day in Alabama. Last time these two teams met, of course, they played for a SEC championship. Florida won that game 45-30. Last time they played in Tuscaloosa was 1990. Florida won that game 17-13. Palmer in at quarterback. Swing pass, Terry Jackson. He's got room to run. Good. Oh, no, that's Gillespie. Gillespie gets to midfield, breaks a tackle, still on his feet. And he's dragged down, followed by Tony Dixon. Gillespie on the swing pass did much of that on his own, and Florida right back into Alabama territory.
And Bob, this had to be a breaking coverage because Gillespie is going to come out of the backfield, and watch how open he is right now. When he sees him, bang. Now there's nobody out there. Now every coach that's ever coached football will tell you you cannot arm tackle. That's an arm tackle. There's an arm tackle. There's an arm tackle. There's another arm tackle. Finally, they get him down.
Gators now starting to rack up the yards against Alabama. Palmer fakes to Gillespie, throws over the middle, post pattern, touchdown. Travis McGriff was wide open, and the Gators get their first TD of the afternoon. 32 yards on the touchdown strike, and the Gators build the lead to 12-3.
Boy, he just turned Michael Fagan around. Fagan number 3, you see him in the right of your screen right there. This is just a simple post pattern, but what McGriff does is when he comes off the line, he just freezes Fagan. Just bang, he freezes him, plants. He's got that inside, just that inside break. That's just a pitch and catch for his 4th touchdown.
And Jeff Chandler on for the extra point. Jesse Palmer, 13th touchdown strike of the season. And the sophomore right on target to his senior receiver, Travis McGriff, his 4th TD catch of the year.
Well, again, you'll see right here as he drops back and looks right there. You see the break inside. McGriff just gave that great head fake, went right back inside, just wide open. Again, we can look at it. This is just picture book passing. You see, lay it up there, just catches him right in stride. The receiver just looks the football. Do you see how McGriff looked that football in? That's the mark of a great receiver. Just looks it into his body.
Big plays by Gillespie and McGriff, and Florida has the lead. Our Nationwide Insurance Scholar Athlete of the Week is tailback Terry Jackson of the University of Florida. The senior from Gainesville has a 3.6 GPA in Business Administration. Congratulations to Terry Jackson, our Nationwide Insurance Scholar Athlete of the Week. He comes from a great football family. And of course, as we mentioned, he's also the student body vice president this year.
And Marvin Richards to receive.
Brother and his dad, both Gators. Of course, had a knee injury last year in the 4th game of the season, was out the rest of the year. That really hurt the Gator attack. And he's now bounced back to be a terrific leader on this team. Also academic All-SEC 95, 96, and 97, Terry Jackson.
Well, Bob, if you're on Florida's side, you're saying, hey, we can go for the kill now. But if you're on Alabama's side, you're saying, hey, we've got to hang with them. We've got to be able to get a touchdown, get some first downs in this football game. Because they don't want to let this football game get out of range for them. I wonder which quarterback will come out, Bob.
Looks like Andrew Zow's right in the middle, number 5, as John David Phillips unable to move the Alabama team the last 2 possessions. And so they're going to turn things back over to the freshman from Lake Butler, Florida. Here comes Andrew Zow, and the crowd responds.
And it's interesting. It's not saying that Andrew Zow's a better quarterback than John David Phillips, but today he brought a spark with him. And that's what Mike Dubose and their staff is looking for, a spark on offense.
Well, they got 4 snaps last week against Arkansas. 23 snaps on the season. Right up the middle, Sean Alexander. Alexander has not had a whole lot of room to run so far. Dart Warren makes the stop for the Gators. Dave, talk about just how impressive, though, this Florida front 7 is. Everybody's raving about it. I mean, they say 7. They've actually got about 15 guys with the depth they've got.
Well, that's not where their problem is. Their front 7 is as strong as anything. When you start picking out teams, if you went around the nation and picked out players, a lot of the players that you would pick on your starting defense are that front 7. That's how strong they are. Veteran laden, just a marvelous football team.
They try and run against that front 7. Nothing. Sean Alexander knocked down again by Mike Peterson, who's been flying around the football all day. And Peterson's one of those guys, Dave, he doesn't get a lot of recognition. He just makes plays.
No, exactly right. He's solid. The senior is out there. He's done really well. He's got 5 tackles and 2 sacks today already. But you're right. When you're going up against Javon Curse, as you called him, the freak.
Yeah, everybody calls it.
Yeah, I know.
Peterson had 14 tackles last week against Kentucky. He's a Butkus nominee. Alabama's been dreadful on 3rd down conversions, 2 of 7. And they face 3rd and 4. South touchdown. Calvin Hill, his knee hit the ground when he made the reception, but the senior from Gallatin, Tennessee, helps Alabama get a first down. Zhao gives him a spark, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. Good pressure right here. You're going to see Zhao as he delivers the football. He's got a crowd in front of him, but he looks that football and just delivers a strike. You see Hill put that knee down. He's right down right there.
Touches it down at the, where are they from? The 33-yard line. Zhao came into the game, as we mentioned, only 2 of 5 for 8 yards on the year. With the freshman getting a chance to play today. Led his high school team to 2 state championships. Sophomore and junior, and then got hurt his senior season. Always on target there. Nice strike. As he finds the wide receiver, Eric Locke, freshman out of Murfreesboro, Tennessee. And Zhao has the Tide going. Down by 10 points.
And you see a concerned Bob Stoops on the Florida sideline. But look how quickly Zhao sees it right there. He throws the ball with confidence. The split in between the zone, that's exactly what you want to do. Deliver that football on time. It looks like Zhao can move this offense.
Eric Locke had 2 catches coming into today's game. He's matched that already. We've still got 3 minutes to go second quarter. They try. Sean Alexander, not much there.
Well, I was looking at a play at that time. I thought if Zhao was to fake to Sean Alexander and roll out, he'd have a lot of room there. There's Bob Stoops right there. You see him giving the signal for the defense. He wants a triangle. Boy, he's just an outstanding defensive quarter.
Well, they've held Sean Alexander in check last week. So did Arkansas, as he had 21 carries and only 48 yards today. 7 carries for 15 yards. Alexander, of course, 2-time SEC Offensive Player of the Week for his efforts early against BYU and Vandy. Zhao, pressure. Backside hit as he throws, and the ball is short, almost intercepted. Again, pressure that time on the blitz by Manuel.
And you know what's amazing on this play? Every time that Alabama drops back to pass with no backs in the backfield, just the quarterback, you get this pressure right here from the side. See the backside backer just coming in there? He just kind of lopes in there. That's Manuel, number 4. He didn't run like Peterson ran in there, but that's that same blitz. And you can see him get hit. They're lucky that ball didn't get intercepted.
Alabama 3 of 8 on 3rd down conversions. They'll try it again at their own 48-yard line. Zhao, time to throw, and he's got his man. Calvin Hall out of bounds, first down. He's got a little zip on that arm, doesn't he?
I'll tell you one thing, good blocks by his up front line. All the big boys up front give him a lot of time. Watch this. As Zhao drops back, there's pressure. You see the blitz from the outside. There's nobody breaking through. Zhao just steps through there. This one here, you'll see that just when he just delivers that football right in there, he throws it well. He just zips that ball in there, Bob.
Tony George is right there, but just about a half step behind. That was enough to get the completion to Calvin Hall, who's having a big day. 2:21 to go. Shovel pass. 12 yards up the middle to Sean Alexander. Just fights his way back to the line of scrimmage.
Well, Ed Chester and Reggie McGrew in that middle, the 2 big guys, 94 and 92. There's some hosses. Boy, they use their hands so well. And that's so important for a defensive player. Hit in there, use those hands, keep that separation, slide.
David, the people watching the game will say, well, they can throw the ball all day long on Florida, but you've got to keep them honest, don't you?
Yes, you do. You got to keep them honest. You got to go to that run, especially when you have a running back like Sean Alexander. You've got a whale of a running back there if you can get him open.
8th play of the drive. He's got his man, Eric Locke, on the slant pattern. He only picks up about 4 yards. So it's going to be 3rd down. Clock is down to 90 seconds to go in this first half.
And Bob, that's a lot of time. What you do is you don't want to give the football back to Florida. So you want to use your time. You don't need to call a timeout yet, even though Alabama has 3.
They've got 2, actually. Remember, they burned one early.
That's true. You're exactly right. They have 2.
3rd down conversions, 4 of 9. Big one here to keep this potential scoring drive alive. Zhao dumps it, almost intercepted. That was a spy right there. Reggie McGrew was spying that one, wasn't he?
That's exactly what McGrew did. Hit into his lineman and then dropped on back. It's an interesting play. Watch McGrew. He's right down here. See him getting back here. He's hitting in the play. He's actually a spy tackle. Just trying to get those hands up, and it worked.
Well, last week, a 55-yard field goal attempt that he made, now 52 yards. Lugner trying to get a little leg into this one. Remember, he's kicking into the wind, too. Got enough. Did he get enough of it? He had enough, but it wasn't the right direction. And so the 52-yard field goal goes to the right. Florida turns back Alabama, and now the Gators will have 53 seconds to play with it. Dave, you know, that's what you said. It was, you don't want to give it back with too much time left.
You're exactly right, Bob. You don't want to give Florida 50 seconds. For Florida is a long time. They can drive the length of a field. I remember, I think it was last year or the year before with Werfel, their average touchdown drive was not much longer than that.
Jesse Palmer back in at quarterback. Gators have scored 1 touchdown, a couple of field goals. They got to drive it 65 yards here for a score. And they have all 3 timeouts left. There's the screen pass to Terry Jackson. He's got room to run. Flag down right in the middle of the field as Jackson picks up 10 before he's rolled down. Travis Carroll is there for Alabama. Let's see what the penalty flag is.
Yeah, I think you're going to find holding against Florida on Travis Carroll. Travis Carroll's the middle linebacker. He's got that back on the play, and I think that's exactly what the call is going to be. It's going to go against Florida, holding on Travis Carroll.
Holding on the offense. A 10-yard penalty from the original line of scrimmage. Still first down.
New source for sports on the internet, jpsports.com, now online. Each week we'll bring you the previews of our upcoming telecast and in-depth coverage of the SEC. For the inside scoop on SEC football, log on to jpsports.com. Dave Rowe has an insightful story today. Feature story in there about SEC football. Draw play. Robert Gillespie in there. And the ball comes loose. Who's got it? Alabama says they've got it.
I think he was down, though.
They're sorting things out. They're going to say he was down.
Yeah. The ground can't cause a fumble, and you can't pull the ball out once that knee or a part of the body hits the ground, and that's what the official said. He was down.
Reggie Miles came out of there with the football. Let's see. Gillespie.
Right in here. Now, he's not down yet. Now he's down.
Oh, I don't know.
Well, that was close.
Yeah.
Mainly because he fell laterally to the ground.
His knee might have been on the ground. Spencer had him wrapped up.
You see the official in great position to make the call?
Yeah, he had a good look at it. And they can't get the final play off. Jesse Palmer watches the clock tick down, but the Gators go to the locker room leading 13-3. Alabama kept them out of the end zone except for that last one in the second quarter, as it's 13-3 here. Florida leading, and David Logan now is down with Steve Spurrier.
By 3, by 10 at the half. Uncharacteristic of your team, first half play.
Well, we had some chances, but we misfired, and Alabama's playing tough. You know, we just got to keep playing 60 minutes, see what happens.
All right, they got a different quarterback in the second half. You're going to do anything different, Coach, against them defensively?
Our defense playing real well.
All right, appreciate that, Steve Spurrier. We'll be back for halftime. The score here, Florida 13, Alabama 3. Our halftime show coming up. We'll be right back.
Today's Bell South SEC Game of the Week is brought to you by Dodge, the truck stop of the New South, the new Dodge. By Duckhead, khakis since 1865. By Nationwide Insurance. For insurance coverage and financial services that meet your needs, call a Nationwide insurance agent today and get Nationwide on your side. By Gatorade Thirst Quencher. You either have it or you don't. Life is a sport. Drink it up. By Red Roof Inns, where you'll find nice people and an honest value. For reservations at any Red Roof Inn, call 1-800-THE-ROOF or your travel agent. And by the all-new BMW 3 Series. Everything your car does well, it does brilliantly.
The best of the SEC is brought to you by Just for Beef. In the SEC, the quarterbacks still have the hot hands. Kentucky's Tim Couch threw for 406 yards and 3 touchdowns a week ago. Couch leads the SEC in passing yards, averaging over 394 yards a game. Florida's Jesse Palmer is second. Just as impressive were the legs of James Johnson, who ripped off 144 yards a week ago. He's currently third in the league in rushing, trailing Kevin Falk of LSU and Bama's Sean Alexander. The wide receivers put on another show last weekend, led by Kentucky's Craig Yeast. Yeast pulled in 6 balls for 206 yards. He leads the SEC in receiving yards a game at 134.5. Travis McGriff of Florida is second. Ray Green of South Carolina is the league's leading tackler with 43, and a pair of Gators are second and third. And that's a look at Just for Feet's best of the SEC.
And welcome back to Tuscaloosa, where Alabama is trailing Florida by 10. Florida 13-3 over a tough Alabama defense at halftime. Well, in the first half, what can you say about Alabama and their defense? Came out, gave it a pretty strong effort. Florida with plenty of chances to score within the red zone. Alabama making them settle for 2 field goals. That's pretty much the story in the first half. But the big play had to come on Jesse Palmer, finding Robert Gillespie for a nice little dump-off pass. This would go 50 yards as Gillespie works his way down the field. Nice little flat screen pass out there to Gillespie, using good blocking, good moves out into the open. This would help set up Florida's first touchdown on the afternoon, a 32-yard strike from Palmer to Travis McGriff. Well, the big stat in the first half would have to be total yards. It is Florida, 212 yards. Not bad movement for the Gators. Alabama just 73. Tough time at the quarterback position. That has hurt them somewhat in the first half. They'll have to regroup in the second half to be able to get back in this football game. Well, back in 1992, the SEC put on their first conference championship game just a little ways up the road at Legends Field in Birmingham, Alabama. Capacity crowd over 80,000 on hand to see this game. And this is the subject of our SEC Sonic Flashback.
Touchdown, Tennessee!
5, 10, 12, he's running over people. Oh, you Herschel Walker.
Stuffing into the end zone. It's a touchdown!
SEC Flashback is brought to you by Sonic, where we invite you to drive in for a change. We look back to the 1996 SEC Championship game, where Alabama and Florida locked up for the 4th time in 5 years to decide the league's champion. Alabama got on the scoreboard first as Freddie Kitchens hit Dennis Riddle on a 36-yard strike, but the Gators roared back and scored 24 unanswered points and held a 24-14 advantage at the half. The third quarter opened to fireworks as Danny Werfel hit Jacquez Green for an 85-yard TD bomb. Florida added a late touchdown to put the game out of reach. The Gators went on to win the game 45-30 and claimed their 4th consecutive SEC title. Florida took the momentum from this game and defeated Florida State to win the 1996 National Championship. And that's Sonic's SEC Flashback.
Now these two teams will go on to play 3 more times, with the Gators getting revenge, winning all 3. Hey, now if you want to find out more about this year's championship game or anything else about the Southeast Conference, you can go online at SECSportsAt.com. This interactive site features up-to-date stats as well as cybercast coverage of conference events throughout the year. That's SECSports.com. We'll be back with a look at scores from around the country and take a look at what's going on in the SEC this weekend. The score at Bryant-Denny Stadium, the Gators 13, Alabama 3.
Bell South presents You Call the Play. In the 1994 SEC Championship game, Alabama and Florida battled the entire game. Late in the 4th quarter, Florida trailed by 6. After a patented Spurrier trick play, the Gators found themselves on the tied 2-yard line. Now it's time to make a call. If you were Steve Spurrier, would you pound it in and try to run some time off the clock? Or would you try for the quick strike? What would you do? You call the play.
Nothing says autumn like SEC football. Bell South's employees are supporters, graduates, and former athletes of the SEC.
Tim Rosser, Bell South Corporation. Martin Houston, Bell South Business Solutions Group. Lloyd Daniel, Bell South Entertainment.
Paul Harmon, Bell South Business Systems.
Ken Cooper, Bell South Telecommunications.
I'm Dwayne Ackerman, CEO of Bell South. Bell South and its employees are proud to be part of the tradition of the SEC and an official corporate sponsor.
First and foremost, at the University of Alabama, finding the star quality that's in everyone is our proudest tradition.
It's no surprise that Nashville is one fast-growing video production center.
Stand by to take camera 3.
Or that TNN has installed a digital fiber optic network that helps send video signals live, crystal clear, and pitch perfect to millions. What may be surprising is who helps TNN plug more fans into more music. It isn't AT&T or MCI. It's Bell South.
You know what?
From education to entertainment, we're playing your song.
On first and goal, the never-conservative Spurrier passed the ball, and Danny Werfel hit Chris Doring for 6. The extra point put Florida up by 1, and the defense held, and the Gators won their second SEC title in as many seasons. You Call the Play has been a presentation of Bell South.
It is halftime in Tuscaloosa. Florida on top of Alabama by a score of 13-3. Well, everybody in the SEC in action today with the exception of Mississippi State, who, by the way, will be traveling next week or taking on Auburn next week. That is our game of the week. So let's take a look at games going on later on today around the SEC, presented by Morgan Keegan. Tennessee returns to conference play after beating Houston last Saturday. They head to Auburn for a rematch of last year's conference title game. Also, Herb Tyler and the LSU Tigers hosting the Georgia Bulldogs and their three-way player, Champ Bailey. Other games today, Kentucky traveling to Arkansas for the very first game between these two teams. South Carolina taking on Ole Miss for the first time since 1981. And Vanderbilt goes out of the conference for the first time this season as they play TCU. The Commodores looking for their first win of the year down at Carter Stadium in Fort Worth. Some other games going on this afternoon as well as we take a look at our Dodge halftime scoreboard. Well, Ohio State out in front of Penn State 21-3. Dave Rose not liking that one. Florida State on top of Maryland 13-7. West Virginia Navy tied at 17 in the third. Georgia Tech out in front of Duke 24-13 in the third. Our score here at Bryant-Denny Stadium, the Gators 13, Alabama 3. We'll be back with highlights and stats from the first half after this word from your local station. And welcome back to Tuscaloosa. In a defensive struggle, Florida out on top of Alabama by a score of 13-3. Well, folks, listen, when you have over 300 yards of total offense in a football game, it's a strong bet that you're going to be the player of the week. Well, last week, Kentucky's Craig Yeast put up those numbers on his way to earning our Buick Player of the Week.
The SEC Player of the Week is presented by Buick and your local Buick dealer. Kentucky's Craig Yeast was a man on a mission last Saturday for the Wildcats. Yeast totaled 331 all-purpose yards and 3 touchdowns in the Cats game against Florida. Yeast pulled down 6 passes for 206 yards, including touchdown strikes of 97 and 74 yards. The 97-yard TD reception was the second longest in SEC history. Yeast also returned a kickoff 100 yards for a touchdown. That's Kentucky's Craig Yeast, our Buick Player of the Week.
Now, Yeast's 331 yards was the third highest total in SEC history. The 206 yards that he amassed receiving set a school record. Well, guys, speaking of total yardage, Alabama's going to need a whole lot more to get back in this one. They're playing well defensively, but we need to see more of Sean Alexander. Maybe this new mobile young quarterback that they have in Zhao can spark this offense. Right now, defense is playing pretty good, guys.
I think you're right, David, but 7 sacks for Florida's defense against Alabama stands out.
That's the killer, Bob. That's the big stat of this first half. They have got to stop that. They've got to take that pressure off the quarterback.
Can't ask much more from the Alabama defense except for the 1 touchdown strike. They played very well.
Yeah, they've been very, very strong. Started off, Florida kicked the field goal, went up 3-0. Then Alabama came back, and of course, Phillips fumbled the football, and they gave it up right here, but their defense stiffened and held Florida to another field goal. That was a real tribute to their defense, and they really needed that. Then Alabama gets good field position, and they go down there and they kick a field goal. It wasn't pretty, but it made it 6-3. Johnson is sacked in the second quarter. Under some pressure, he gets sacked. But veteran quarterbacks come back and they throw touchdown passes, Bob.
That's exactly right. Alabama's defense kept them really off balance with those blitzes, but they catch him here on man-to-man coverage.
Yep, man-to-man, and they catch Travis McGriff. This made it 13-3. It gave Florida a little bit of breathing room going in at halftime.
So let's look at the Pizza Hut stats from the first half. You see the rushing yards, -2 for Alabama. Sean Alexander, 8 carries for 16 yards in the first half. Turnovers, each one have 1 in the first half. And time of possession, you see Alabama's had it. They just haven't been able to score.
Yeah, they just have not been able to do anything with it. But Zhao gave him a little bit of spark. We talked about that when he came in, Bob. He gave him a little bit of spark. So maybe he might start the second half and see if they can keep that spark up.
But the Florida defense has put so much pressure on Alabama. Every yard has been precious.
Oh, boy, they are. I mean, it's tough running in the middle, and then they've had that incredible outside pressure by their outside linebacker. 7 sacks. That's a ton.
Mike Peterson's had a big first half for Florida. Let's look at Dave Rose. Rewind. What's going to happen in the second half?
Well, for Florida, keep up the pressure. They just need to keep the pressure on the quarterback. They've done really well, and they need to score points when they're not used to kicking field goals. For Alabama, it's block the blitz. My goodness, if you can't expect your quarterbacks to even do anything when you got a blitz like that, and they have got to score points. They can't keep on relying on their defense.
Alabama's been able to move it at times, but they've only gotten 1 field goal in this first half. Alabama trails by 10 at home. Second half kickoff coming up from Tuscaloosa in just a moment.
We remember that moment in our lifetimes when we reached out and had that first discovery and said, my God, it is possible. If I work hard, I can walk in this intellectual area where no one has been before. And that moment is the transforming moment that captures the best graduate students, that captures the best faculty members, and translates it into the quality that energizes this university.
The Bell South SEC Game of the Week is being brought to you by Morgan Keegan, the South's premier investment firm. By Sonic, where we invite you to drive in for a change. By Buick and your local Buick dealers. Isn't it time for a real car? By Pizza Hut, home of your favorite pan pizza. By Just for Feet, where the 13th fare is free. And by Amoco. You expect more from a leader, and you get it.
One of the historic landmarks on this Alabama campus, the Denny Chimes. Inside Bryant-Denny Stadium, our Bell South SEC Game of the Week. Bob Kessling, Dave Rowe, David Logan. Alabama leads or trails by 10 as we get set to start things here in the second half. The Gators will kick off. Mike DeVos' team, Dave, needs to do something quick on offense.
Well, they certainly do. They need to get a spark. They need to take the pressure off their defense. I would look for them to go back to Andrew Zal because he threw well in the first half, Bob, and that's something that John David Phillips did not do. He did not react well to the pressure. So to keep that spark, maybe go to Zal. He's got his hat on.
Last time Alabama won in this series was 1992, 28-21 in Birmingham for the SEC championship. Last time they beat Florida here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama took the Gators 23-12, 1978. And now we're set to go. Second half, glad you're with us. Jeff Chandler will kick it off. And the ball will sail deep into the end zone, and Richard decides to put, that's Fernando Bryant. No, it is Richard, 26. Decides to bring it out. Makes a break. Down the sideline. Great return by Arvin Richard. Benny Alexander makes the stop for Florida. So a little spark for Alabama by Arvin Richard, the returner.
Well, this is about a 200-yard run for about a 35-yard gain. But look at this. Breaks to the outside, finds a little seam here, now cuts back against the grain. Right here, breaks an arm tackle right there. He breaks a tackle there and then just drags him an extra few yards so they get good field position out at the 35-yard line.
And there's number 5, Andrew Zal, to start the second half. John Alexander, the standing tailback. And the pitch to Alexander. Can't get outside. Just nothing there. As Florida slides out, Tico Brown comes up from free safety, and there's Mike Peterson one more time.
Well, Sean Alexander is a much better slash runner. When he turns his shoulders parallel to the line of scrimmage, right there, or I should say perpendicular line of scrimmage, he's not gaining ground. And he's not the type of a runner back that's going to get in the hole and get back outside, Bob.
See his numbers, he had 18. He just lost 4 on that.
See if they don't put that blitz back on him and that pressure with no backs in the backfield.
Zal over the middle. Got his man. Quincy Jackson on the reception. As Jackson able to make the slant. Zal got knocked on his keister but made the completion.
Boy, he did. That outside pressure. Every time they've gone to that no back set, that pressure's come from the outside. This time, right of your left of your screen, boom. It wasn't a long pass, but at least he got it off.
And Rod Grady enough to make the stop. John David Phillips watches as Zal gets the start this half. Phillips was not able to convert third down conversions very well. Let's see what Zal does here. And Alabama's first in the second half. Zal got a man wide open, and he's got it. Tim Bowens cuts it back, and Bowens lost the football. McAdley comes over to pick it up. What a play, and Alabama will have it first and goal. Tico Brown knocked it loose, and hustling on the play, Jason McAdley picks it up and retains possession for Alabama.
Bob, McAdley, number 80, is going to come all the way across the field. He's way over to the left of your screen. He sees the backside tackle. Look, he's not even in the screen. He's coming from this side over here. Look at him come in there and make that big play. Just hustled by the freshman, number 80, Jason McAdley.
That'll be a star on the chart Monday, hustling.
Oh, boy, that was a big play.
Now it crowds into it. Alabama first and goal, and Zal on the rollout. Looking over the middle, got his man, and again it's McAdley. Did he get in the end zone? They say no, short. So McAdley is down. They're going to mark it at about the 6-inch line.
Boy, and I'll tell you this, Zal has made a great decision. You'll see right there, number 80, look at him slide right in there. There he is, get the ball now, stretch the end, he's down, definitely down. But Andrew Zal just gets rid of that ball just before he gets his clock clean.
Alabama inside the 20, second down. McClintock, touchdown. Flag is down, though. The flag is down on this near side.
And that's almost always, defense in the neutral zone. That will be declined. Touchdown Alabama. They're back in this football game.
So somebody other than Sean Alexander scores a touchdown as big Dustin McClintock. The sophomore scores his first touchdown of the year, and Alabama is making it a ball game. It's 13-9. Pope to hold it now. Pflugner to try to the extra point. And it's good. Alabama cuts it to a 3-point game. Terrific hustle play by Jason McAdley. Keeps it alive for Alabama, and the Tide strikes first in the second half. McClintock on the score, 13-10, Florida. SEC football is brought to you in part by Toyota. Toyota every day. President's Mansion here on campus at Alabama. Game on now, as Alabama did exactly what it needed to do. Score early, second half, to get the crowd back into it. Here's the kick. And that ball will knuckleball out of bounds at the 18-yard line.
There's a flag on the play.
It looks like Jesse Palmer will be the quarterback to start this second half, Bob. Now watch this play here again. We talked about McAdley hustling. McAdley's not in the play. He's coming downfield. He's way downfield. Tico Brown rips the ball out. There's McAdley, number 80, freshman, hustling down. That's what made this play. He picked it up and recovered that. And that was a huge part of that touchdown drive. McAdley doesn't hustle over there. That's all negated by a great tackle by Tico Brown.
Jesse Palmer back in at quarterback for the Gators. Late cut to 3. Swing pass. Jackson knocked down after he gets across the 35-yard line.
Well, that was good
Griffin
hustle.
makes the play.
Yeah, that was good hustle by Griffin, just number 97. He's on the play, he's rushing the passer, bang, turns, throws the football, comes down there. You know, sometimes it's hard to inspire a team, and I think that's the problem that Steve Spurrier is having a little bit, because these guys are so good, Bob. They know that they can play at half speed and three-quarter speed and really compete with a lot of teams. I think Florida's just gotten a wake-up call by Alabama scoring that touchdown, and I know Steve Spurrier is probably happy about that, but unhappy about the score.
Palmer zips it, got his man. Completion. Kareem makes the catch, and Fernando Bryant wraps him up. But Florida's now in Alabama territory.
Those big linemen for Florida give such great time. That's the problem where they've really had a problem. As we look at Bryant hobble off there, they can't afford to lose him on the outside. This is a curl pattern where you run down about 12, 15 yards and just curl back in. You see there that Jesse Palmer's under no pressure. Right there, just curl, just cut right back in. I think Fernando, when he pressured his foot back, he may have twisted something.
Palmer gets away from the pressure from Morehouse. throws it back across the field. Dangerous pass. Trying to get it to his tight end, Dwight Edge. And Travis Carroll had a beat on that one, but just couldn't get to him. Dave, that's a dangerous pass.
Boy, that
you don't throw across the field much.
Yeah, now there's Bryant. Now that looks as if it's a cramp. But you remember when he was backpedaling and planted that leg, that may have been a cramp. You don't think, well, you think cramp or maybe pulling a hamstring, Bob. But they can't afford to lose him out there.
Well, they got fluids right there next to him, so obviously trying to get some fluids in him to keep him from cramping if that indeed is the problem.
Well, they picked on Fagan last time. See if they don't do it again.
Draw off the middle. Jackson. Not a first down, maybe about a couple of yards short. You know, Dave, that has been one thing about Florida. They have not been able to run the football effectively all season.
Yeah, this is draw play. You just shift over and then just find a hole through there. Just look, find that hole, get out there, pick up a couple good blocks in there, and find yardage. But you're right, Bob. They have not been able to run with any confidence. Not where they've been able to stick it in there and just play that smash football down the field. They've got a great running back in Terry Jackson. They've got an excellent offensive line.
Jackson did have 116 yards last week against Kentucky. Third down. They need 4 yards to go. The clock is winding down. They don't get it off. Play clock runs out. Steve Spurrier shakes his head. They called timeout right before the clock ran down, but let's see if they're going to get it.
They tried.
On the offense. 5-yard penalty.
So a 5-yard penalty. They tried to get the timeout call, but didn't get it.
Yeah,
the clock ran out.
That was Frazier who turned around and looked at the official trying to signal timeout, but the clock had already run down. But you know, that's part of the problem that you have with rotating quarterbacks. He has to run in with the play, or you have to signal the play in. And you see that, you see right there, you see Jesse Palmer look to the sideline. Now, what's the play? The clock is already starting to run down. Johnson's in there now. He may come out, and then Palmer comes to the sideline, and you see the clock just ticking down. The clock's down to 13, 12, 11, 10. Just keeps on ticking down. Now they break the huddle with 7 seconds. They get to the line. They've got to hurry now.
Third down, 3, 2, and now he does get the timeout.
Oh, boy.
You know, Dave, this is what troubled them in the Tennessee loss.
Exactly.
They had some communications problems and just getting the plays off. Spurrier told us that at times he had problems with the center just snapping the ball, and that's a lot of the problems. And now Florida trying to reorganize, up 13-10 here in Tuscaloosa. Good coaching job by Mike DeBose this week. His team last week did not play well against Arkansas. He stayed focused, simplified things, thought he'd get a good effort, and that's exactly what he's getting from his team as they trail by 3 to Florida. Heavy underdogs in this game. Alabama has played the Gators toe-to-toe. Third down long. Jesse Palmer at quarterback. Palmer over the middle, got his man. Travis McGriff, and that's a first down.
Boy, what a catch by McGriff. That ball was thrown behind him. He had to go back against his body and catch that. And we all know the speed that Doug Johnson throws with. Left of your screen over here, you're going to see it right in there. Bang, there comes the ball. Look at that, back against the body. That's a tough catch. Feet sliding out from under you. That just shows the great concentration by Travis McGriff.
But Palmer gets the completion on third down and gives a first down now to Florida as they march now deeper into Alabama territory. Palmer sets up time. Out pattern. McGriff got it inside the 5. I tell you what, Dave, McGriff is something. He just gets open.
Well, and you remember they lost Fernando Bryant. They're not able to match Fernando Bryant up against McGriff. And they've got Bailey in there one-on-one. And what he does is he takes Bailey inside. McGriff takes him inside, and you see him just curl to the outside there and look that football in. Just a well-thrown football.
Spoken about Bryant, David Logan's got an update on him.
Yeah, the update right now is that he does have cramps in both legs. He got an IV at halftime, and I think right now they're going to take him back into the locker room for another IV. That's the situation.
Hands off. Tailback. That's Eugene McCaslin. And McCaslin not much there. He missed the first couple of games this year with a team suspension. Now he's back in trying to help. Remember, Bo Carroll, we haven't spoken about him. He is not here today, out with a knee injury. So that's some of their depth, not only in the tailback spot, but also in their kicking game. But Carroll not here. McCaslin getting a chance to play. Now it's Gillespie in at tailback for the Gators on second and goal. Pitch back Gillespie. Good defense by Alabama. outside, and Alabama drops him.
Boy, what Knight did was just exceptional for the outside force, and that is that he turned it back in, and even when he started to break to the outside, you're going to see Canary Knight out here. There he is, 58, right out there. He's going to keep this outside position, turn the football back inside, and make the tackle. That you just don't get any better than that.
Knight, of course, out of Tallahassee, Florida. Got his first start against Arkansas last week, and playing well today. Florida turned away twice when they've been inside the 10-yard line. And now they've got third down.
Need to get pressure on the quarterback.
Palmer into the end zone. Incomplete. Kareem couldn't get there. Good coverage by Alabama as Reggie Miles on him one-on-one, and Florida's got to settle for another field goal.
You know what? As we watch this incomplete pass, you'll see Johnson get some time. Palmer gets some time to look out there and throws the football away because really great coverage there by Alabama. But I can't remember the last time I saw Florida try 3 field goals in one game. They're not used to that.
Jeff Chandler on to attempts. He's hit 2 from 24 already this game. Billy Young to hold. The kick is going to be right through there. So Florida now with 3 field goals on the afternoon, and it's 16-10. Mike DeBose's team hanging tough. We'll be back to Tuscaloosa, but first a word from your local SEC station. Florida leads by 6, 16-10. As the Gators trying to chomp on Alabama, but that Tide defense has been very, very tough today. Arvin Richard is back deep for Alabama again. Freddie Millens also back there, but Richard will take this one. Good block by Millens, and Richard runs it across the 33-yard line. That's helping out your teammate there. Most of the time, if a guy didn't get the ball kicked to him, he won't hustle. But that time, Millens came down and made a good block, and now it's time for Alabama to take it over. Millens, he's cramping up.
Yeah, and the coaches got concerned there, and we see Millens go off the field hobbling. See, maybe he has cramps, but a lot of concern on these Alabama coaches. They've just driven the football down the field. They scored a touchdown. They got results. They need another one.
Andrew Zhao on at quarterback. Millens, of course, is also a wide receiver for Alabama. That takes one out of the rotation. Remember, Michael Vaughn not playing today because of the suspension. Sean Alexander tries to break it outside. He does. Alexander, his first long carry of the day. That'll be a first down to the 47-yard line. And finally, the junior from Florence, Kentucky, is able to break one.
You know, he did 2 things on this play. First of all, he switched the ball in there. He kind of switched the ball to the outside. Watch, he's going to go over here, not find a hole, and then go all the way back against the grain. Now, right there, look, watch right here. You'll see him switch the football back over. McAdley, number 80, a wide receiver, got a great block downfield on Manuel, number 4. That's what sprung him to the outside.
Alabama playing those young wide receivers in this game. They've been doing a lot of good things. Cut back, not this time, as the Gators right there, Javon Kirsch. And right in the middle, Johnny Rutledge able to snuff that one out.
Well, Bob, you look at this Gator defense, and just remember that in '96 they held their opponents to 50 yards rushing, and I mean it was just incredible the average that they had. This year, 66 of the 134 rushes have been for 1 yard or less.
The announcers of the game are selected and compensated by Jefferson Pilot Sports. The broadcast, a copyright presentation, and a use of the broadcast without the express permission of the Southeastern Conference and Jefferson Pilot Sports is prohibited. Eric Block in motion on second down. Up fake the line. Sal looking. Now he throws long down the middle for Jackson. And it's knocked away. Tony George makes the play at the last instant. Quincy Jackson was behind him, and George, with that recovery speed, able to knock it away and save a touchdown.
Well, Tony George was our hero player of the secondary, and this is his first start after that loss at Tennessee where he got injured. But look at his recovery. Looking back, looks at the receiver, sees him there. Great recovery to get those hands inside. He's beaten right there, makes an excellent recovery. And that's what Florida does so well. They have that great team speed, Bob, that you mentioned.
Speed kills, doesn't it?
Oh, boy, does it ever.
Speed helped that time. 5 of 11 on third down. Zhao, a big one here near midfield. Pass is knocked up in the air and almost intercepted by Brown. The deflection right in the middle of the field. It was made by Mike Peterson again, and then Tico Brown almost able to come up with the interception.
And Peterson again coming from that outside blitz. Every time they see that single backer, and look how high it is. I think the only reason he missed it is because the receiver cut his legs out from underneath him.
Eric Locke maybe saved a touchdown because Brown had a full head of steam up. Here's Daniel Pope into punt again. Wobbly kick, angled for the sideline and out of bounds.
That was a very good kick.
And let's see where they're going to mark it.
It's going to be out near the 30.
Right at the 30, and that's where Mike DuBose's defense has got to come up strong again. Gators lead at 16-10, and Doug Johnson sent back out on the field for the Florida Gators. Fans, to complement our broadcast, Jefferson Bonnet Sports brings you jpsports.com on the internet to preview our game of the week and see video clips of last week's action. Be sure to log on soon. It's an exciting source for all you need to know about SEC football. Florida leads 16-10. Gators with the ball. Running over a couple of red shirts and picks up about 5 on first down.
Now, Bob, if you're Steve Spurrier and the Florida Gators, they want to take control of this football game. Not many games that they're in this late in the football game where they're only up by 6 points. Steve Spurrier knows that. His offense just has kind of sputtered around here all day long. But they know with that big offensive line and the running backs they have and the great arms of those quarterbacks, they can take control of this football game.
Second down.
Alabama hoping for a turnover. Make a mistake.
Johnson, pressure, sack, throws it away, and there's going to be a flag down. Travis Carroll burst through there. Johnson said he had a man.
And I don't think Johnson is wrong. He did throw for a man. He was in the grass. He was going down, but I thought he was throwing at a man also. I thought maybe he had his tight end in that play.
Wilbur Hackett, the umpire, they're asking him if was there anybody in the area. Now a conference. And Esther Sizemore will be the guy who will have to make the decision. See if they pick up the flag.
Well, that's the first thing that Johnson said. He said, hey, wait a minute. I had a player right there.
No flag. Receiver in the area. No flag.
That's a heads-up call by Johnson. Watch when he drops back here. He's not just trying to throw it downfield. He's in the grass. But as he's going down, you'll see right there he's going down. But right there, he's throwing the football. I mean, with velocity, he's throwing to somebody. Now, Mike DuBose doesn't like that.
So take the sack away from Carroll and give it third down. And 6 yards to go for Florida.
And Bob, see how big that play turns around because it would have been third down at about 15 or 16.
Johnson rolls out, throws back across his body, and has his man. Completion to McCaslin, and that will be a first down for the Gators. Johnson thrown across his body, but he's right on target.
And boy, what a huge wave off that penalty was. Pressure there by number 54, Moorhead in there. He gets the pressure to the outside to get outside of him. Now Johnson just flips it across his body. First down, Florida keeps the drive alive. And again, you go back to when that flag was waved off. That was a huge play for Alabama. That went against Alabama, I should say.
McCaslin pounds it up the middle. And Dave, I think you're right. You would like to see Florida, if you're a Florida fan, see those Gators just pound it up the middle a little bit.
Yeah, they'd like to take control of this football, take the emotion out of this football. This crowd is still in this football game.
And you see the numbers today, Johnson and Jesse Palmer. So 14 out of 32 on the completions.
257 yards. That's not bad for any quarterback.
Palmer's got the touchdown strike, also to Travis McGriff. Johnson looking, zips it, got his man. And that's Daryl Jackson. Lost his helmet on the play, but picks up a first down.
Well, one thing I really like about Johnson and Palmer, they're well-schooled quarterbacks. They don't throw the football into trouble. This is an out pattern. If the ball is incomplete, it's not going to be intercepted. They throw velocity, they throw ropes, straight line. They don't loft it. The receiver gets good separation, turns right around, and you can see the timing of the pattern. Awfully hard to defend a play like that. Just perfect execution.
Johnson has 1 interception today, but that's the only one of the season so far. Remember last year he threw 12 of them, and that was a problem at times.
Time's running out again.
3-2-1. They got it off. Johnson lobs it. Flag is down. Pass incomplete to McGriff. Maybe they didn't get it off.
There's a flag on the play.
He's got to be looking at that clock. And look at Steve Spurrier's looking at it.
Now the clock is low. It's to his left over the tunnel where Florida comes out. And so he can't look straight ahead and look at the defense as he's going this way. He's got to go ahead and kind of glance over to his left to see where the clock is. There you see the clock.
Yeah, there's the clock right up there, top of your screen there. And you can see the
dead ball. False start on the offense. The 5-yard penalty.
There's the clock there, 25 seconds. You see it on both sides there and there. And then he has the one, as you say, Bob, in the low end zone. It's a lot easier to look at that one in the low end zone. But you're right. He can't look straight down the field and see it.
Those clocks are on the other side. And the pass is complete to Aaron Kinney, the tight end. Michael Fagan makes the catch. Those clocks you just we showed, those are on the other end, and so the way Johnson's going right now, there are no clocks up on the scoreboard. So the only one he can't see is that one in the lower left.
You're exactly right. That's a very good point. His vision is not to look back at that big clock, it's to look at that one in the end zone.
Good catch by the tight end. That's his 3rd of the year. He's got a touchdown also, but that one makes it 2nd down and short. They pick up the blitz, and Johnson lets it out, and the pass is complete. McGriff, what a great catch. Michael Fagan right on him, but great concentration. He had to look over the top of Fagan, keep his feet in bounds, and McGriff with a big day for the Gators.
But what happens on this play, McGriff he kind of looks off the defender. He kind of fakes him out. You can see the ball thrown high there. See now he looks back there, looks the football in. He doesn't put his hands up until the last second. See right there, he puts his hands up. And the defender, Fagan, trying to get his arm up. He's trying to read the quarterback. The receiver, his eyes are to the back. He can't see the quarterback throw the football.
The Cavs in the standing tailback, and now the Gators decide they're going to take a timeout. And so the Gators burn their 2nd timeout of the half as Johnson comes over, and Mike Dubose brings his defense over to see if they can stop him one more time. How many times can Alabama gear it up and keep them out of the end zone?
Well, it's been a struggle for their defense. They have stopped them several times. They need to stop them this time.
3 field goals today for the Gators as they lead it 16-10. Next Saturday, our Bell South SEC Game of the Week is an SEC West showdown as Auburn takes on Mississippi State. Tigers 1-2, but they have big play potential. Karsten Bailey, 12 career touchdowns, and that Auburn defense is always good with Jimmy Brumbaugh. Bulldogs sitting on top of the West, 2-0 behind the running of James Johnson. He had a big game last week against South Carolina. So, see us next week, 12:30 Eastern, 11:30 Central, Auburn and Mississippi State.
And one thing, Bob, you see how Florida makes you pay? They waved off that penalty there. It would have been 4th down. They would have had to kick the football, or at least 3rd down on a long yardage. They waved that off. They get a 2nd chance, and then they just drive the field and take control of the football game.
1st and goal for Florida as the ball spotted at the 2-yard line. Terry Jackson back into the standing tailback. Johnson stays in at quarterback. Handoff, Jackson, nothing. Alabama smelled that one out. Kenny Smith lost his helmet on the play, but makes the tackle, number 88.
Well, that's
big
a nice
sophomore out of Meridian.
Yeah, that was a nice slant down inside by Kenny Smith, number 88. He's going to slant from the top of the screen over in there. You're going to see him just right there. Bang! There he is. He just brings him down right on the line of scrimmage. That's exactly what you want to do. Keep those legs driving, drive them back. A lot of times Florida uses that little fade pass where they throw to the corner, that alley-oop pass.
Kareem is at the top of the screen, the wide out in a slot. Johnson, bootleg. Gets away from Morehouse. And he lost the football. He lost the football. Stanley had it. Can't hold on to it. Who's got it? Travis Smith. Alabama's defense comes up with another big play.
Steve Spurrier, you can see him wiping his eyes because he knows that you cannot give up scoring opportunities. But watch what happens to Doug Johnson. He gets hit from the backside and pops the ball out. Right in here, he's going to hit right there. You see the ball come from the backside. The hand comes up. Now they almost make a mistake. They try to pick it up and run with it. Just outstanding hustle there.
Hunter is the guy who reached in and knocked the ball away. Steve Stanley is the guy who tried to pick it up and almost lost it to Dwight Edge.
Well, when he tries to pick it up right here, you want to just fall on it because look at Edge. He dives on the football.
But Travis Smith digs it out, and Alabama's in a hole, though, backed up at their own 2. McClintock, the touchdown score earlier, powers out to the 5. Florida, the turnovers that they had in the Tennessee game, well documented. And you see this year 11 fumbles already, only 8 all of last year, and something that they talk about. Coach Spurrier told us this week they've been practicing. Yeah. They, in fact, have the ball carriers holding footballs all during practice to get them to think about it. Johnson that time just didn't secure it.
They call it putting it away, putting that elbow down, holding the point of that football, keeping it in tight.
Alabama down by 6. A touchdown puts them in front. Sit back, no. Little slant. Calvin Hall couldn't hang on to it. He was open, but the pass just out in front of him a bit.
Well, that's a good call down there. A little slant into the inside. You're going to see him. A little short roll here. Right to the right of your screen right there. Coming over. Calvin Hall just broke a little bit off the pattern. Trying to see right there. He kind of stops running. And I think Zal was thinking that he was going to continue running across. And he knows that he should have had that football. Big down here for Alabama. They need to get a first down. I think you've got to go long. Maybe that crossing pattern again. Florida, they're going to come with the heat.
Looking, pressure, sack. They just closed in on him. Derek Chambers, number 91, sophomore, out of Lawndale, North Carolina. That's his first sack of the year, and Florida's defense stuffs him.
Well, you see the cross in the middle right there. The 2 tackles take outside. The middle backer, Rutledge, steps right up into the center, and that's where they get pressure. They just come after you.
Eighth sack of the day. Sean Alexander did a nice job picking up the blitz, but then the front wall of Alabama crumbled a bit, and Florida able to get there. So Pope now, the SEC's leading punter, needs a big one right here.
Well, you talk about maybe taking a safety. That puts you down 8 points, but you don't have to punt from the back of the end zone.
He's punting into the wind as well. But he gets it out of there and booms one.
Wow, what a kick.
That's Capel back in his own territory. Gets it out near midfield. Alabama covers it, but Daniel Pope with a huge play. And now Florida will get the ball back, leading by 6. 57-yard punt by Daniel Pope.
Boy, and too, Bob, it was high. That thing had carry time. If you ever wanted Pope, if you ever wanted to get a big kick, he got it there. At least he makes Florida drive a long way.
16-10, the Gators have the lead. They come onto the field. Jesse Palmer gets the turn this time.
Florida, go right back to what you've been doing well. Hit those wide outs, curling patterns inside.
Palmer, blitz, sack. Kenny Smith, nobody touched him. Canary Knight also there with him. And Kenny Smith pushes Florida back.
This is all-out blitz. You're going to see Kenny Smith come over right in there. You're going to see everybody just coming on a hard blitz. Look at Smith. You talk about it. 88. Nobody touched him.
Glenn Wagner, number 91 also, but nobody picked up Kenny Smith.
And, Bob, you have to wonder how much these changes in this offensive line have confused or put a problem on Florida. They've had several different lineup changes. They've not played with the same starting offensive line all year.
Draw play. Terry Jackson pulls his way back into Alabama territory. Almost back to the original line of scrimmage, however. So it'll be 3rd down and a long 9 to go as Tony Dixon comes up to make the tackle out of the secondary.
Good block there by Rod Frazier, number 40 on Miles. Right there, bang, knock him outside. Look at Terry Jackson break off that block, picks up the big yardage.
North and South running right there. Steve Spurrier's team needs a play here, and the 3rd quarter comes to a close. They can't get it off, and so Florida will say, okay, we'll change ends and come at you again. But the Alabama fans behind their team, their Crimson Tide, a terrific effort today. 4th quarter to go with Florida leading by 6. Florida 16, Alabama 10 as we start the 4th quarter. Alabama has Fernando Bryant back in at left corner. He's been cramping up, but now he's teamed up one-on-one on Travis McGriff. Time, Palmer looking, rolling, chased, fires it behind his intended receiver, incomplete. Tried to hit Rod Frazier, who took a shot from Kelvin Sigler. And Florida's got to punt it away. Here are the Duckhead stats through 3 quarters of play. And Dave, I think Alabama had a pretty good quarter.
Well, I think they did too. They've got some yards. They've got more yards than they had last week. But more importantly, they're only down 6 points. You look at time of possession, the yardage is really misleading a little bit, Bob, but they do have more yards than they had last week. Kelvin
Sigler now goes deep for Alabama. He'll stand at the 5. We'll see where exactly Florida's going to try and put this thing. Ozalewski. High, floating, spiral. Sigler, fair catch, dropped it. Loose football. And Florida has fallen on it. Let's see, they got a flag down. Was he interfered with? Absolutely. As he tried to make the catch. Benny Alexander got inside that little cushion area, and the flag is down right about the 10-yard line.
Bob, you have to give him 2 yards. That's going to be the call. Even though the return person runs up to the coverage team, you still have got to give him that 2 yard.
Well, Sigler had to go back there. Arvin Richard not returning that kick, and that leads the question, is Richard all right?
2-yard violation of the buffer zone on the receiver. The Reds ball, 1st down.
So Big Red will take it over.
Now watch this. You see the 2 yards right there. Now see, now that's the 2-yard problem right there. He didn't give him the 2 yard, interfered with the catch. Now that ball was going to be on about around the 10-yard line. I thought they moved it out to the 16. I thought that it was just a 5-yard penalty. That's right. Well, now's when Florida can really put pressure on you.
Andrew Sal back at quarterback. 5 wide receivers. Alabama trying to spread them out. Here they come. Sal, quick pass to Jackson, incomplete. So they try to hit the quick slant. Jackson couldn't hang on to it.
When I thought Jackson really broke off his pattern that time, you've got to continue that pattern. And Reggie McGrew comes out, the big lineman, number 92, comes to the sideline, and he's hobbling. I wonder if he has cramps.
Alabama, 4 wide receivers, and McClintock is in that slot. Sal, out pattern, got his man. Jackson breaks it off. Jackson got away from being ruled for a 1st down. Great individual effort that time by Quincy Jackson.
Boy, and Andrew Zal just throws that ball with velocity because the defensive coverage is right on him. Right of your screen, you're going to see how close the defender is. There's the turnout catch. Look at that, he's only within a yard. Then a nice play. Cut back inside. Quincy Jackson picks up the 1st down, moves the chains. That's what Alabama has got to do.
Thing good about that, he didn't try and run out of bounds. He tried to turn it up for more yards. Had 11 catches against BYU. And of course, Jackson also had a touchdown catch against Sean Alexander. Alexander, good yardage out to the 35-yard line. Jared Warren makes the stop for the Gators at that point. Dave, Alabama's offense with Zal suddenly with a lot of confidence.
They are. They certainly are. They're going to get Reggie McGrew back in there, and that'll help Florida. For the Alabama, you can see there's the Alabama brain trust right there. They're in there thinking, boy, what do we do? And they need some plays. They need something to happen well. They need Zal to not force the ball into trouble. Don't throw it up. Just keep on playing like they're playing. They're still in this football team.
45-yard line. Another first down for Alabama.
What a good block there by Will Cuthbert, number 72, on a Javon Curse, number 42. Good blocking up front. Look right there. Boom, down they go. Look at the block off the line. That's Cuthbert, 72, driving. And all of a sudden, you see Sean Alexander running with a little bit more authority, Bob.
Mike DeVoe says maybe he kept his team on the practice field a little bit too much last week, so he cut down the practice time, made it meeting time, and Alabama looks much fresher today. Alexander turning it up, spinning his way to midfield. Thaddeus Bullard has a hold of his ankles, but Alexander gets a good gain on first down. Alabama continues, Dave, to build momentum and build momentum.
Well, their defense has been the thing that's given them momentum, and that's what Bob Stoops' defense has done for Florida. They're the ones that keep on getting those big plays and turnovers. But today, it's been Alabama's defense that has answered the call to give the spark. And then you talk about Andrew Zal coming up there and giving a little bit of spark to the offense.
Marvin Richard, we questioned him just a moment ago. He was just in the game and now left, so Richard appears to be all right. Zal throwing long, looking for his man, and it's incomplete. Bumping down there, Jason McAdley battling on the play with Tony George, the veteran. Hey, the freshman ain't gonna get that.
No, I'll tell you what, Tony George, what he does on that play. Look at this. He's just going to stay right in front of him, right there, just right in front of him. He just never lets him go on his pattern. He doesn't interfere with him. He just stays. He just keeps that distance.
That's a veteran play right there for the senior out of Cincinnati.
Boy, what a good football player. You just love him one-on-one. You don't have to worry about that corner. They were glad to get him back from that Tennessee game.
5 of 12 on third down conversions. And Andrew Zal got to go again here. Zal looking. Zal pressure. Looking at quick feet. Lobs it. Jackson can't catch it. Oh, check that. That's Eric Locke. Locke stretched out, just couldn't bring it in.
How did you like the freshman there, Bob? And when he looked at Lott, he told him, go deep, go deep. He put his hand up, told him, just start going deep. But look at Zal run around in his pocket. He's just fearless back there. Now, right in here, look, he's going to look at Lott and say, hey, go deep, right there. Boom. Throws him the football, and look at his reaction. Oh, right off the fingertips.
Alabama tradition, kicking game. Bear Bryant won with the kicking game, and now Daniel Pope. They run a fake punt. Now he goes ahead and kicks it.
Well, that was interesting.
And McGriff will make the catch back inside the 10 at the 6-yard line. Daniel Pope thought about it, let his teammates get downfield to cover it, then he booted it 43 yards, and Florida is backed up. Gators lead it by 6, 11:54 to go in the fourth. 11:54 to go, 8th-ranked Florida leading 16-10, but in a fight with Alabama here in Tuscaloosa. Palmer under center this time as Florida backed up. Shadowed its own goal line inside the 10. Trying to wedge it out. Terry Jackson 3 yards out across the 10. And so Alabama now keeps Florida down to 2 on that first carry. Let's go downstairs to David Logan.
Yeah, Bob, you've been talking about the great tradition of the Florida kicking game, the Alabama kicking game. This defense has really come out and really had good stuff to work with Florida being backed up. That's because of Pope. Strong leg kicker. Got his job as a walk-on years ago. The guy can squat 575 and bench press 425. That's why he's had a lot of booming kicks, because of the great strength.
He's had 4th and 1. Let him run it up the middle on the fake. Terry Jackson cuts it up the middle. Good hard run. Dave, he's a terrific back.
He is. He makes a hole where there is none. He sees the hole before it opens. That's what makes Terry Jackson so good. As he runs up there, he just almost feels the seam. Watch him. This play is designed to go here. All of a sudden, you see him back right there. He gets the block there by number 40, Frazier. Then he finds that little seam, just works it through there. And as you say, Bob, you just don't bring him down. You're not going to arm tackle him and bring him down.
Steve Spurrier talked to him this week about tippy-toeing a little bit too much just to bust it up in there. He did on that play for a first down, Florida. Gators would love to hang on to the football and come up with a long march here. Jackson rolled out of bounds. across the 30, right at the first down marker. And Dave, this is for Florida. A lot of times with that offensive line, they've been pounding on you all day, and now if they can just get a long sustained drive, your defense has got to step up.
Exactly. Break to the outside, use a little bit of that speed, get to the outside. This looked like a face mask, but he actually got his shoulder pads. You'll see right at the tail end here, he gets his shoulder pads. You see the way his head goes back, it almost looks like a face mask.
So Alabama's defense, they have played their hearts out today, but now they got to muster it up one more time to get the ball back for the offense. Gators trying to march it down and seal this thing. Palmer going it long. It is going to be incomplete as it's trying to get Travis Taylor, but a flag is down as Fernando Bryant had his hand on him.
Yeah, I wonder if he put his hand up on his chest or grabbed the shirt on the back, on the corner of the shoulder. That flag, the official in great position to make that call, and that's what it's going to go against Alabama.
It was a second down and short, so Spurrier rolls the dice and gets the call.
Let's see if we see the hand on the shoulder right there. You don't really see it there. Maybe the hand is grabbing the back, but the official.
On the defense, the 15-yard penalty from the line of scrimmage. First down.
See, Bryant's got his right arm hooked inside of the receiver's left arm. I don't think Mike DuBose liked that a whole lot. But that's a little bit careless play on Fernando Bryant. He's too good a player to have to put that hand up and just take, you know, a penalty that really was not going to be a big factor. That ball was not going to be caught.
So the Gators continue this march. Remember, it started at the 4 to 10-yard line. Slobber knocked as Steve Stanley comes up along with Marcus Spencer. Spencer's the guy to lay the wood to him.
Boy, Spencer came up there and flat out just leveled him. 41 left of your screen. Watch this. Bang! Boy, did you hear that hit? That's what you like those defensive backs to do and linebackers.
Walk-on who got a scholarship back in August. Marcus Spencer with a big hit. Stanley turned him in and Spencer finished it. Looking, sacked. Kenny Smith again. Travis Carroll made sure he didn't get away, and Smith able to drop.
I think Grimes is the one that really opens it up. Number 98, he flushes the quarterback out. As he's going up, 98, you're going to see it right in there. He's going right up the gut there, and he forces the quarterback to step up. Now it's just trying to find a hole.
Doug Johnson now comes in. Florida 2 of 4 in third down conversions. And now the crowd roars.
And the clock ticks down, Bob. Look, they're going to call
timeout.
They're going to have to call timeout. They weren't even set.
Florida's got 1 timeout remaining. Now going this way, you've got the play clocks. You can see them as they're up on the scoreboard, and there's also one down low. But Johnson saw it ticking down and decides to call the timeout. Third down and long, Florida with 8:44 to go in a tight fourth quarter. The winningest team all time in the SEC, Alabama, battling the team of the decade, the winningest team in the 90s, Florida. 16-10 Gators, third and long for Doug Johnson.
And here comes the blitz maybe up the middle. No, they fake it.
Johnson firing. He's got his man. First down and then some. Darrell Jackson comes free, and Johnson put it on a line.
Boy, he did. And Tony Dixon ran right by the football. As the football was going that way, number 24, the strong safety, ran right on by it. You'll see him run right on by the football here. Look, watch this. Right on by. See 24 right there? Boom, he throws the ball right behind him.
They're going to mark it right there at the 40. So take that 10-yard gain after the catch away, because when he caught it, he was down. They marked it at the 40. Still first down. Jesse Palmer back in as the Gators marching from their own 10-yard line. Jackson on the counter. Picks up 2. Play in the middle. Kelvin Sigler comes up along with Kenny Smith, and Smith has been all over the place today.
And now do we run the quarterbacks in, or do we signal in? There we go, we signal in. But both quarterbacks, of course, Johnson and Palmer, keeping their hats on because they don't know which one's going to be out there.
We talked to the Alabama staff yesterday, and they say they see no difference in the plays. I mean, they don't run certain plays for one quarterback. It's basically the same offense. And now it's just a matter of getting some continuity. Clock down to 7:40 to go. Palmer to McGriff. Up close to the 30, but they're running back to the 38. Forward progress will be marked at the 30, which is going to be, looks like about 6 inches short of a first down.
Good strike that time. Again, going back to those basic patterns. Little curl pattern to the left of your screen. You're going to see McGriff just come in there, just get a little bit of separation. Bang, he throws the rope to him. When he turns around, there's the ball. That's just perfect timing. When you can time like that, you know your wideouts and your quarterback are working together.
7 minutes. Big Al trying to spur his defense on. Quarterback sneak. They just needed 6 inches there. Ride that big offensive line. And Doug Johnson pushes it. The key thing here, keeps the clock running. Alabama has 2 timeouts remaining. But Dave, I got to think that Florida's thinking touchdown.
Well, they have to be thinking touchdown because that puts the game more than 1 score. Right now, Florida's leading by 6 points. Any score by Alabama, any touchdown by Alabama, and they're going to be behind. So they've got to be thinking touchdown. Control the clock.
Palmer's numbers today. Field goal puts them up by 9, so that's 2 scores. But you know what Florida thinks about kicking field goals? They don't like it very much. Fade pattern, man wide open. Gillespie. He's out of bounds at the 3. Robert Gillespie comes unchecked out of the Florida backfield, and he makes the catch down at the 3-yard line. Dave, it's amazing how Spurrier can get those matchups, and that time nobody picked up Gillespie.
That's because Travis Smith, 48, blitzes on the play. You see 48 in the quarterback's hands. He never saw Gillespie coming out of the backfield. There he is down the sideline. That's number 48's man. What an effort to try to get that football into the touchdown. But again, Travis Smith rushes on the play. That's his coverage. Great effort there.
Gillespie, 7 catches coming into the game, a couple today, and that was a big one. As again, the Gators have 1st and goal now. Jackson cuts it out. Powers down to the 2 when he's shoved back. Travis Carroll down there along with Kenny Smith and Trevis Smith. Now Mike DeVos' team has turned them away time after time today, but the Gators now are gaining control of this one.
Well, and if you're Steve Spurrier and his staff, you're thinking, don't turn the football over. Don't have one of those crazy plays like they've had in the past. Just protect the football, drive it in there, control the clock, go up by more than 1 score.
6 minutes and counting. Alabama runs a player in late. Jackson straight up the middle. Fumble, falls loose again. They mark it down right at the goal line. Who's got it? Guess what? Alabama. Cornelius Griffin comes up with a loose ball. Terry Jackson fumbled at the 1 against Tennessee. It cost him perhaps the momentum of that game early. And now he fumbles here at the 1-yard line, and Alabama's got it back.
Watch the ball just get ripped out right there. The hand just comes out. The ball is out early. Look at the effort by Alabama. Cornelius Griffin, number 97, comes up with it. They're going to get it out on the 20, Bob. It was in the end zone. He couldn't have been more than a foot from scoring when he got hit.
He fumbled into the end zone against Tennessee. He fumbles into the end zone against Alabama. Remember, Doug Johnson also fumbled back in the 3rd quarter inside the 2-yard line. So Alabama gets it back, needing a touchdown to take the lead. Sean Alexander in the middle, running hard and gets stopped after a good pickup on first down by Ed Chester. 2 timeouts for Alabama, plenty of time left. And Andrew Zhao, what a story he's been. He came on for John David Phillips when Alabama was lethargic, could get nothing done offensively. And Zhao, the freshman, has been a spark. Now, can he pull off what would be a stunning upset? Just a couple, but he gets close to a first down. Good hard running. Reggie McGrew spins him down. Alexander now is getting close. Well, he was at 49 yards before this drive started, so he's up over 50. But now the key, 3rd down and short, Dave.
Yeah, and you start thinking as you watch the clock run down under 5 minutes, you think about how many more times will Alabama get the football. This may be their time. They may have to keep it on 4th down. Out quarterback can't put his hands under center and then pull out like that.
Exactly what he did. It's illegal procedure.
Yeah, you can't put your hands in and fake to draw the defense offside.
Dead ball. Illegal procedure against the offense. 5 yards, still third down.
Young mistakes.
Yeah, boy, that's a big one, Bob. It was third down and about 1 to 2. Now it's third down and 6. Boy, does that change the complexion of the play. Now it's got to be a pass. Maybe he might use that rollout that he has been a little bit successful with, getting out of that pocket and scrambling.
Clock runs. Alabama 5 of 14 on third down. Zhao looking, firing. He's out there for Jackson, who has the ball knocked away by Manuel. No flag. Manuel, the linebacker, staying with Quincy Jackson and knocks the ball away, and Alabama has to punt it.
Well, they really like Marquand Manuel, number 4, the freshman. Just great coverage right there. Keeps the hand inside. You see that Jackson looks back for the flag. There is none. Alabama has to figure that they can get the ball one more time, Bob. And they may get it in good field position.
They need Pope to boom one again. He's had a huge day for him.
He's got the wind at his back.
Good kick again. McGriff not going to take any chances. He's going to fair catch it. And he'll be back at his 27-yard line. That's where the Gators will take things over. They would like to put together a couple of first downs and get out of here with a victory. 49 yards on the punt. Florida's got it up by 6 when we come back.
Are rich people taller than the rest of us? Are their loved ones more deserving of an airbag? Was the sun created solely for their enjoyment? Are we the only car company that doesn't think so? Century by Buick, full of amenities for under $20,000, loaded for under $24. Century by Buick, a luxury car for everyone.
I do this 6 days a week.
I got the turtle, Mommy.
And do it gladly for my family. But when I say enough, enough means Piccadilly.
Piccadilly fast, Piccadilly fun. We've got what it takes to please everyone. When you say enough means Piccadilly.
Sellout crowd today here in Tuscaloosa. Nobody has left as Florida and Alabama battling. See the Gators scoring only 10 points all year in the fourth quarter. They can use a touchdown here to salt this thing away. 4:04 remaining, and the Gators have got it back. Handoff, second man through. Terry Jackson, they give the ball right back to him after the fumble, and Jackson powers out for a couple.
Boy, that's a big block by Rod Frazier, number 40, the fullback. He's the one that they break off. He leads in the hole. Jackson sees that block, just cuts right off of him.
Clock ticks. Alabama, when do you use the timeouts? You've got 2 left.
Well, if they stop them here and they bring up a third down, they may use one, but you've got to conserve those timeouts. Florida, run the clock.
Jackson breaks it up the middle. And Jackson has a first down. Fernando Bryant comes over along with Spencer to make the play. Big first down for Florida. Keeps the chains moving.
Same play right again. You're going to see McClintock come up in here and block. Jackson take the ball, read that block, and off he goes. Boom, right there. See McClintock 40 right there? He's just popping in there, hitting Trevis Smith 48, turning him out. Jackson making the break on it. They ran that back-to-back, Bob. Picked up a lot of yards.
Jackson over 100 yards on the day for the 4th time this year. And off again to Jackson. Florida with 16 points today. The last time they scored this few points was 14 against Tennessee back in 1992.
Hey, Bob, I want to clear up one thing. That's Rod Frazier, number 40. His mom and dad will be writing me letters. But number 40, that lead blocker, is Rod Frazier. He's the sophomore in there, 5'11", about 230. He's the one that's just piling up in there and allowing Terry Jackson to make that break. You can see he's tired. He's in that huddle. I guess that's kind of being in the huddle. But these guys have played a heck of a football game today.
On a hot, muggy day, these teams have just slugged it out. Jackson cuts it outside, got some room to run. He's into Alabama territory and rolls it down inside the 35-yard line. Jackson this year 116 yards against Kentucky, 117 against Northeast Louisiana, and 127 against the Citadel. Over 100 yards today, and time is running out now for Alabama.
Well, they get the outside wedge. They catch the backer, Travis Carroll, inside, and then Jackson just gets to the outside. But I'll tell you what, I was watching those big linemen. Once that play was over, those big linemen, they walked all the way to the line of scrimmage. They didn't run, they didn't jog, they just walked. Those big puppies are starting to do some deep inhale, and you can see them when they break the huddle. They're walking up to the line of scrimmage. They're tired. They played hard.
2 minutes to go. The clock runs. Alabama hasn't burned the 2 timeouts yet. Jackson.
Now you burn one.
Just for a couple. When do you take it?
Right now.
And that's what Alabama's going to do.
Yeah, you got to conserve sometime.
Dave, I guess we talked about Mike DuBose and the job he did getting his team ready to play football. He said he was disappointed with their effort last week. He can't be disappointed with it today.
No, you know, you play football game with talent and ability. And that's the difference in football games. But there's one intangible, and that's heart. And he asked his players to play hard, and they have played hard today.
Now it's time to look at the BMW Ultimate Drive of the game, brought to you by BMW, the ultimate driving machine. To start the second half, Alabama needed to get something going. They were down 13-3, and they get the touchdown from the big fullback, Dustin McClintock. First touchdown for anybody rushing other than Sean Alexander this year. And the drive, 5 plays, 65 yards, and 2:35 on the time. And McClintock with the touchdown run, and that has made this thing a very tight football game. That made it, at that time, 13-10. Florida later kicked a field goal, but still, it's a 1-score game.
And if you're over on Florida's side of the ball, you're saying right now, don't fumble the football. Just keep that football, keep it tucked in, be aware of it, be conscious of it. And you know what's interesting, as a coach, you don't go up and say to a player, be aware of the football. You just tell them subtly, tuck it away, keep that ball. They did it all week in practice. As you said, they had all their wide receivers and their running backs carrying footballs just to be conscious of it.
But it's still frustrating because, let's face it, Florida could have scored 4 more touchdowns in this game if they would have taken care of the football.
Absolutely.
Second down.
Now they're going to have to call their last time out. They've got too many players on the field. I wondered if Frazier's hurt because he started over to the sideline.
Well, they've got 11 out there. I just counted them.
Well, I just looked at Frazier come to the sideline, and he's kind of limping. Number 40's limping. I'm wondering if he's come up with some kind of a pull or something.
Florida now is out of timeouts with 1:41 to go. 16-10 Florida. Now they'll talk about it. And you're right that Frazier is limping a bit. Third quarter. Andrew Zhao sparking Alabama. One of the big plays. The completion as they flip the ball out to Tim Bowens. He fumbles the football, but watch the hustle by Jason McAdley. Saves the turnover. Alabama able to score on that as they get the touchdown from the fullback, Dustin McClintock. They made it 13-10.
That kept the drive alive. Then Florida comes right on back. Good defense right here. Can play on the outside, hold Florida to a field goal try possible.
And that was Gillespie, and then the field goal made it a 6-point game, 16-10.
Then, of course, this is, the big play of the third quarter. This is where Johnson fumbled the football, and Alabama stopped him inside the 5-yard line, recovered it, and drove the football to get it out of trouble.
But credit the Florida defense, kept Alabama out of the end zone on that play. And now the big tailback, Eugene McCaslin, stumbles and falls as he gets to the 30, and Alabama's going to use the last timeout. Well, Dave, now you've got 2 plays. If you're Alabama, you've got to stop them. You don't stop them here, you're not going to get the ball back.
No, exactly right. They've got to stop them. I'd bring Terry Jackson back in there. I mean, he's the running back of the day. I'd see a Frazier. He may not be well enough to go. I saw him come to the sideline limping.
So 94 seconds remaining. You see the top 25. Ohio State was winning against Penn State, Nebraska, and then Tennessee getting set to kick it off against Auburn. UCLA, Kansas State, LSU is 6th, Florida number 8, Georgia 12, Arkansas number 22, and LSU, of course, and Georgia play tonight in Baton Rouge. Also another intriguing matchup today in the SEC, Arkansas and Kentucky. What a terrific day today in the SEC football.
Boy, it is. And I'll tell you, the Arkansas team, you remember Danny Ford last year told us that we can just make it one more year. Of course, he did not, but Arkansas has a good football team.
They sure do. Well, here we go. 3rd down and 4.
Well, if it's me, I'm going to go back to Terry Jackson. 3rd down and 5. That's a little bit stretched for Terry Jackson. But one thing, if you go to him, you keep the clock going.
Jackson. And did he get a first? No, he's short. The clock is going to roll, though.
Now, if you're Doug Johnson, what you do is you look up at the clock, get your play from the sideline from Steve Spurrier, then step up there and let every second that you can. They have not set the 25-second clock, so they just let it roll down. Now they've set it. Now, just take your time. Big number 40, Frazier comes back in there. Rod Frazier, that lead back. They need about a yard.
Well, Alabama's history is built on a lot of 4th down stops. Will this be one that we'll remember for years and years? 4th down, Alabama. The game riding on this play.
Everybody get in tight, get penetration, and stop 11 up front.
Jackson puts his head down. I don't know.
No way.
I don't think he made it.
No, he had to make the 25. Bobby didn't make it.
Cornelius Griffin got there. They're going to measure this one.
They can measure all they want, but I think Alabama's going to have a reason to cheer. They're going to get the football back, but only 45 seconds on the clock.
Travis Carroll said they didn't make it, and now the officials say they didn't make it. And a standing ovation by the Alabama fans and the head coach, Mike DuBose.
Well, Bob, if I'm Bob Stoops, it's my team out there, the defensive unit, and that's what Florida has the strength in. You talked about their great defensive unit. I'd want that defensive unit out in the football field because they are outstanding. It's not going to be easy.
They've started the play clock, and Alabama's offense isn't on the field yet. 15 seconds now. Can the freshman lead Alabama down the field? 64 yards for a touchdown to win it. Zhao. Flag is down. Zhao goes down. Now we'll see what the flag is. Alabama out of timeout, so are the Gators.
Bob, it was thrown while the ball was in play. So it wasn't somebody lining up in the neutral zone. I'm wondering if it's holding on one of the Florida players because it was thrown while the ball was in play.
Illegal procedure. The offensive team didn't have enough people on the line of scrimmage.
Oh, that's why it was. They were thinking. Yeah, they were thinking of a late shift here. You can see they say they don't have enough linemen on the line of scrimmage, but it takes a lot of time off the play. This took 12 seconds.
And it cost them 5 yards.
Yeah. Plus, Florida got the best of that play. I don't know what Florida's signaling. All their guys are all signaling, pointing over there.
And again, no timeouts.
Well, if I'm Florida.
Oh, they're trying to figure out, what do you want to take the penalty or take the down is what they were asking. And I think you would think they would take the play if they've got the option. But it's not a dead ball foul, though, is it?
No, it was not a dead ball foul. 33 seconds on the clock. You've got to go long. You've got to get somebody in the seam. And just think about that secondary. You got Tony George, Grady, Tico Brown, Pollard back there. They're the ones. They're the great defensive secondary. And then you've got those big hosses up front led by those linebackers. And they can flat out come. You know they're going to get all their weight on their hands. They're going to come after them today.
Spurrier wanted to decline the penalty. He wants the down. 5 yards doesn't mean that much right now. You want to get them out of downs. First down, so they'll replay it. They roll the clock.
You got to pick up first downs because that stops the clock.
And they outlet it short to Calvin Hall.
That's not going to get it. You've got to go long. You've got to get that ball down 15, 18, 20 yards at least. Move the chains, and that allows the clock to stop until you snap the football.
28 seconds. Bob Stoops and Steve Spurrier trying to pull one out in Tuscaloosa. These teams have had some memorable games down through the years. They've met 4 times in the SEC championship game. Now they meet here in Tuscaloosa during the regular season. Alabama trying to pull off the upset. They got a long way to go. Zhao cranks it. Now they've got to get to the line of scrimmage. The clock stops while they move the chains. Calvin Hall makes the play behind the Florida secondary. And now with 19 seconds to go, Alabama's going to have a couple of shots to the end zone.
Bob, he fell down on his own. He was wide open. I mean, we're talking about wide open. Got to throw to the end zone now. You got 19 seconds. You got enough time.
Sal's going to spike it to stop the clock. They set the chains. They wind the clock as soon as they're set. 19 seconds to go.
Now you got to get up on the line of scrimmage. Just as soon as they snap it.
He's going to throw it, and it's intercepted. It's intercepted by Tony George. Instead of spiking the ball, Sal tried to throw it out of bounds, and it was intercepted by Tony George.
Well, George, I thought it was the old pump and go where he tried to fake it to him and then went long, but he threw the ball right to Tony George. Great coverage by Tony George. Watch this, right up to the top of your screen, right there. Bang, he's going to just sit right there. Right there, he throws it. He threw it more to Tony George than he did anyone else. That's not the play that you needed. They needed to go long. They had to pick up first down yardage.
Well, they wanted him to spike it.
Yeah.
Mike DeVoe said, spike the ball, stop it, we'll reset it. But Tony George, like he's done so many times for this Florida team, bails him out here with the interception. And now all they've got to do is kneel on it one time, and this one will be over.
Well, Bob Stoops, he calls them big plays. And that's when you do one of those huge big plays. Fumble recovers, interception. For Tony George, that's a big play.
Nailed down, Jesse Palmer, and 8th-ranked Florida survives. As Steve Spurrier and the Gators win today here in Tuscaloosa. As the Gators move to 4-1 on the season, 2-1 in the SEC. Alabama gave them a fight, but the Gators prevail as they win it 16-10. Andrew Zal, the young quarterback, makes the mistake at the end of the game, but what a valiant effort it was today by Alabama. Let's go downstairs to David Logan.
All right, Coach, you squeak one out.
I've never had a game like this. Never had a game like this. So many blown opportunities. But we won the game, so we're not completely disappointed, but I don't know how we won it. We probably deserved to lose the game, but somehow or another we held on.
At the same time, Coach, your offense gets so much credit, but your defense that's really been pulling you out of this one.
Offense went up and down the field. I bet we had over 450 yards. I don't know what we had, but we couldn't score touchdowns. So never had one like this, but we won it, so that's a good sign.
All right, Coach, thank you.
Played tough. Give them credit. They better than us down inside the 10-yard line.
I think Coach Spurrier's right. Alabama, you got to tip your hat to them. They really fought hard today, but Alabama just didn't have it, couldn't make the plays when they had to.
Well, that last series was a crucial one. You wonder if they'd had a little bit more time. But Zal came in and certainly gave him a spark, Bob. He gave him something that they haven't had in the last couple weeks, and I think he's probably somebody that you're going to build around. But on this play, Bob, I thought it was a fake pump. See right here when he kind of puts the ball, looks like he's going to fake, but then all of a sudden he throws the ball and it's right to Tony George, right in his hands. George with that outstanding coverage. He probably had help deep, so he was able to stay up close on the receiver, but that was the time to go to the end zone.
Steve Spurrier 6-1 now as a head coach in this series, but I'll tell you what, he knows he was in a ball game today.
Boy, he was.
And Florida wins it today over Alabama 16-10. And so Florida takes it and survives this test here in Tuscaloosa. And so now Alabama, when you look at them, now they've got to muster it up. They take on Ole Miss next week. They exerted a lot of energy today to win this thing, or to play today against this Florida team. Let's go downstairs now to David Logan.
You got a big smile on your face because you know you're getting out of here by the skin of your teeth.
Yeah, it was a tough one. Alabama's a pretty good team, and as you can see, they didn't give up none. So we just had to keep getting at them all 4 quarters of the game, and like towards the end, we had to play a lot because the offense wanted to keep us on the field a lot.
What about your game? Did you find this team moving away from you, rolling away from you? You didn't seem to be in a lot of the action this afternoon.
Yeah, I found them getting away from me, but at times, as long as everybody play that gap, everyone plays assignment football, I have a chance to get over on some attackers that not on my side.
You know, a lot of people talk about this Gator offense, but you guys defensively, you got to be right up there at the tops in the nation. That's got to make you feel good as well.
Yeah, we made a commitment to ourselves to come in here and stop the offensive game and make them pass, but they came out with a pretty good passing attack, especially towards the end of the game. But was dedicated the whole game, stopping the run and try to stop their pass. But one of these days we're going to click together. The offense is going to be able to keep up with the defense. As you can see today, the offense didn't play with its defense, but we just got to keep practicing and probably next time.
All right, do me one favor before you get out of here. You got about these six nickname names: the Freak, the Voodoo, the Blackhurst. Where'd all this stuff come from? Talk to me.
It comes from my physical features, my speed, my size, and all my potential. But
all right, that's the Freak. What about the Voodoo?
Voodoo, it got something to do with the last name. Last name curse, so Voodoo, we're gonna put a curse on somebody out here.
All right, man, you had a good game, man. Congratulations.
Thanks a lot.
All right, Bob, take it away.
Freak comes through, so did Tony George with a big defensive play as the Gators chomp Alabama today. Florida wins it 16-10. We'll continue from Brian Denny in just a moment.
Today's Bell South SEC Game of the Week was brought to you by Bell South. Bell South is proud to be the official telecommunications company of the SEC. By Pizza Hut, home of your favorite pan pizza. By Amoco. You expect more from a leader, and you get it. By Nations Bank. Nations Bank lends more money to small businesses than any bank in America. By Sonic, where we invite you to drive in for a change. And by Century by Buick, a luxury car for everyone.
So the Alabama fans fight out of Bryant-Denny Stadium. I guess encouraged by their team efforts today. Florida just thankful to get out of here today with a win.
They are. You don't see Florida held many times, Bob, to 16 points.
No, and Alabama played extremely well. Here's our Amoco players of the game. For the Alabama Crimson Tide, Andrew Zhao was terrific today as he came off the bench for the Alabama Crimson Tide in the place of John David Phillips. And Travis McGriff was the Amoco player of the game for the Florida Gators. 9 receptions, 13 yards, and that 1 touchdown in the first half. It was a game of momentum, and Florida kept marching the ball up down the field. They had 467 yards of offense, but again, like they did in the Tennessee game, made mistakes down deep.
Crucial mistakes at crucial times, Bob. That fumble inside the 5-yard line. They're ready to put the football game away, and they fumble and give Alabama life. The Alabama crowd kept this football team in here. I think Mike DuBose calling upon his team had a lot to do with that. And as Steve Spurrier said, I've never seen a game like this before. He's absolutely right. You don't see Florida held to 16 points, and you don't see any team held to 16 points when they have 450 yards offense.
And the Gators, of course, got some tests coming up. LSU coming to town next week.
Boy, and LSU is a team that's powerful. They're a strong team. They're not a team that has a weakness, so it's going to be a real match for Florida.
And I guess the one inspiring thing about Alabama, too, it looks like Andrew Zhao is their quarterback of the future.
Well, I think so. I think he came in and gave him a real spark, Bob. He was able to move him around a little bit. He made a couple freshman mistakes, but you can live with freshmen's mistakes when you get that pop on your offense, and that's something that they had really been missing.
And, of course, Fernando Bryant had the big interception that stopped one Florida drive. I thought the Alabama defense was terrific. They gave up 467 yards, but they came up with the plays when they had to.
Well, it's 3 turnovers for Florida. That's the thing that they have to work on. They've got to get on all cylinders, so to speak. You heard Javon Curse say, we got to start clicking our offense and our defense both at the same time.
And, of course, one of the turnovers for Alabama, that interception at the end of the game when Tony George able to pick it off and end the threat. We'll be back to Tuscaloosa, but first a word from your local SEC stations.